Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Tyranny here on the Twitch streams and later on in YouTube as well. And indeed I was thinking that I would like to check some of the stuff that I didn't look that closely in previously. There's of course different sort of defense scores here too. Didn't have any look what these exactly would be, but of course a lot of them do make sense in general. But still, it's not like I really properly looked into anything, but yeah, then we can see our statistics exactly here, active effect from that, all the specific effects that we have from our different statistics, which is fine. At least we are in 52 of lore, so that's pretty nice, and subterfuge is still growing because we've used that skill to at least some degree. I'm thinking that with level ups I might also try to put some points into it because I do like subterfuge. I do like it. So maybe we'll see. And then of course she's way more athletic and has way more dodge and parry and those sort of things. And dual wield is then her specific thing that she does. And yeah, I was looking at there's actually some cool stuff in here, like of the versus talents, and we have a lot of different things like what we could maybe do in the future from talents, like ridiculous amount to be honest. Magic is definitely something that I will do quite a bit. I haven't looked really what there is, but I assume that we are gonna get the level up pretty soon and then we can think what we'd want to do from here. But I kind of would like magic and a little bit of leadership just because of the fact that after all I was the governor of that one city. So leadership would make sense in that degree. Power, I didn't really look what exactly there would be. Yeah, palm strike and something like that, so it would feel that it wouldn't be as good for me. Range, maybe, but magic and leadership are probably the ones that I will concentrate upon more. Probably. So, how is your character, by the way, Sare? Now that you did go and continue, I've been looking that you've been playing this game a lot. So, how different is your character to mine? How do you have some leadership skills? Just wanna know. Then, of course, our journal with quests, biography with all of our story and the conquest story as well. Statistics, notes, party records are here. Oh yeah, and here we can see indeed all of this stuff, which is really cool. Verse is so close with loyalty to get the death from above. I would really like to get it. So she's so close to being there. But yeah, you have lore skill of 31, so you should be able to get some sort of a spell actually. Like I could be putting this sort of a thing even in there, but I kind of feel something like the close-up stuff would be more logical to give to her than the far-away stuff. And she could for herself get this, I guess, as well. So basically the ones that I also have, I think that makes sense well enough if I am going to have her have some sort of spells. I have no idea what that is, but that's then something, and then there's some missives, but no idea about that. Okay, so you also have leadership skills and magic skills, but yeah, especially considering the fact that we are who we are, and the fact that like I was a governor of that one city, it just feels like a sensible choice. But okay, let's go. Let's head on in. Hi. I always click target and not talk. The gate guard holds up a warning hand. Go no further. You approach disfavored ground. State your business. I am Kire, faint finder of Tunon. I bring words from Kairos, words for your commander's ears. Oh, so you are the fire starter. And now this is of course reference into the fact that I destroyed that city with a great burning fire. Now I'm a fire starter. Fate binder and fire starter and governor. All sort of things. Zeus and the companions returning from the burning library are telling some harrowing stories about Kyros's edict of fire. I think myself brave, but I'm happy to have been far away from it all. Must have been a terrifying honor to be the messenger of such righteous force. Go on in, the soldier gestures towards the gate. The Archons are expecting you. You'll find them in the Warden, center of camp. Center of the camp, eh? Alrighty. Plenty of stuff around. Hi. You seem like you want to discuss with me, Pendibar. Hail to you, guardian of the law, the man dressed in merchant finery greets you with a smile. If you have a few excess rings fading you down, best unburden yourself before the battle. You know that if the disfavored suffer a merchant in their camp, that must be a man selling only the finest provisions and ornaments. He points to his collection of shields, ration satchels, wineskins, and other sundries. Take a look and see if something interests you. How did you come to work with the disfavored? Hard work and good suppliers. When Tunon's men came to my village, all the merchants were given different lists of what they were or weren't permitted to trade. He smiles, hands on hips. In Kyros's wisdom, my record must have been a good one because I was given the right to trade in all manner of goods. Most importantly, arms. Not a lot of merchants can legally sell weapons. It was like that even before Kyros. Let me see your wares. Pendragon rubs his hands, eyes alight. Let's see if we can find something you might like. Hello, Pervados. I played the Littles already for giving spoilers out. Yeah, but I don't want spoilers. At least understood what did wrong. And last difficulty are easy one. Okay. Alrighty then, Pervados. But yeah, I don't want spoilers. Advice sure could be okay sometimes, but on the other hand, I guess it depends on the situation, depends what sort of stuff we would be talking about. But I hope your week has been going well, Pervados. And indeed, welcome to the stream. I have Sigil of Frostcore. I have that. Unfortunately, you have nothing more special regarding this. That's sad. Kinda tempted to go and buy some cheese or fish or something. I don't know why. I just kind of feel it that maybe we could go and do some cooking. Wits. You can get some wits from fruits. Alright. What about you then, Rona? Got no time to shitter. Too much armor to mend. Speak to Uncle Pendibor if you're a ring to trade. Specifically rings, only rings. Is that the only thing you trade with? Horde personnel. Watch yourself, Fatebinder. Why do I have to watch myself, eh? These arrows were fletched with precision and care. These spears are uniform in their quality, craftsmanship. The sparring dummy shows the deep gouges of hard use. You can make out the ironclad soldier's expression under his twisted helmet. He merely stares at you. And I can't talk to him. Doesn't look like it new. I could try to loot that, but that just feels a bit wrong. Feels a little bit wrong to go and do that. Are you anyone? I'm itching to get back onto the battlefield. Well, I guess you're someone like that. And yeah, I guess it's just a joke. That is a sad thing though, that they haven't fixed some bugs then. But okay, well, if they are waiting for us in the center of camp, I guess I should really go there first. There's at least a tent. A meager portion of game simmers in the large copper pot. Fragrant spices attempt to mask the potent smell of whatever creature they've decided to cook. Bitter Quip. A Bitter Quip. That's an interesting name. Bitter Quip. Glory to the Voices of Narada! Projecting his salutation for all to hear, the grinning bloodshander raps his staff against the ground as you approach. Fatefinder Kitty, I presume. His smile quickly retreats, giving way to a sour scowl. I am Peter Quip. I am here as the emissary of the Scarlet Chorus. Peter Quip looks at you impatiently. So, well, what can you tell me of the Scarlet Chorus? The chorus is in the future of the tears. I feel only derision and pity for those who fear our inevitable ascension. Peter Quip looks at you with a raised eyebrow. What in particular would you like to know? How did you come to join the Scarlet Chorus? The doctrine of strength speaks to me, and I answered its call, as did some of my arcane peers. I took to the chorus almost instantly. Unlike most, I cried not for the life of comfort lost to me. My magic invokes fear and terror, and I easily established my dominance over a pack in my early days in the chorus. If you are so curious about it all, Peter Quip smiles, lifting an eyebrow, perhaps you should visit our camp and see for yourself. Well, what's your role in the chorus? I am a bloodshander. My magic can turn the will of man and the tide of battle. I have held command for 3 years now, though being forced to keep an eye on the disfavored is not the reward I envisioned for my service thus far. So you're just here to keep an eye on the disfavored. Cool. Hello, Milan. Welcome to stream for you too. I hope your week has been a good one. So welcome. Sounds as if you really like the Voices of Narada. Sure. Peter Quip blinks several times and scowls, saying nothing. Tell me about the Voices of Narada. He is supreme commander and public servant, he who sets us free but directs all. Peter Quip smiles as he talks, his face turning flush. The Voices of Narada is the epitome of what each of us can be, a magician without equal and the leader of uncountable numbers. The voices and the chorus are one, conquering, expanding, growing, changing, always stronger. Peter Quip pounds his staff into the ground. Glory to the voices. That's all for now then. Nods as you depart. I wonder, can I ask about the other stuff then? Yeah, what's it like working with the disfavored? He scoffs, looking away from you for a moment before sniffling and returning his attention to you. Reporting to the Iron Hag is an insult. She fought one duel for her title. One. Her leadership must be continuously proven, earned, and defended. Weakness should bleed to the bottom of the army, not rise to the top. My assignment here is also an insult, but one I will bear for the good of the chorus. Peter Quip sniffs the air, smiling with one side of his mouth. If only to see with my own eyes the failure of the disfavored. That will be a fine day. Well, unfortunately, you guys would need to actually work together. So you know, just a little bit would need to. An Archon.
See that?
Subterfuge +1, but see that? What did I see? That? Is that what I saw? I'm a little bit confused. I don't know if I should be taking that, but see that? Sounded a little bit weird. Stance, 3 whispers, +20 to dodge. What does that mean? Where does that come from? Exactly. But okay, I guess I should go there first. I can talk to this Lucia and Marcus afterwards. So, at least I assume that's just fine enough of a decision. I'm doing okay. Nothing really big is happening with me, mostly at the very least. Enjoying Tyranny at least. I wanted to play this already earlier, to be honest. Fuku have senses, you can change them. Yes, I'm sure, but I'm not sure. I didn't notice that before. So, is it just like this thing? Okay, and then there's different ones. Alright. I guess that's fine though. You can keep that for the moment and time being. Let's go and announce what we came here to announce, however. Yesterday you shite me with me for wishing to wait. Now you success an even longer delay. Perhaps the voices in your skull ought to come to a consensus if you wish to be taken seriously. Good advice is flexible, changing with the moment. Besides, now we are agreeing with yesterday. Today, we know you hate going into battle without overwhelming odds on your side. If you are so terrified of a challenge, why not wait for your reinforcements? I don't need your heckling, I need your scouting reports, or better yet, confirming you quelled the outbreakers in the Outer Valley. Oh, that! We will solve it in our own way and our own way. We must make the least token effort to show mercy. They have already shouted upon our mercy once before. These Cutterborn South must deserve nothing better than that. Oh, calm down now. We must leave something to rule, or perhaps forgot Kyrus' orders. Patience, old chum. Frustrating, because I would like if I could click through that, so that I could actually receive them both. But yeah, I'm not surprised that this guy's the Voices of Narada and then Craven Ashe, who I get along a little bit better than Iron Irenius and Fifth Eye.
I got it.
That's 4 reports of avalanches in the mountains now. The Tearsmen can barely count past 9. They have neither the capacity nor the cause to close off the mountain passes. Either way, that leaves the 2nd and 4th cohort trapped outside the valley.
Has an interesting voice. The Archon of War pounds his staff on the ground to punctuate his words. A large and imposing man to begin with, his profile is made larger still by his hulking suit of armor that hums with mystic energy. It's quite interesting looking armor, gotta say. With a big hole to the chest. Aha, in Russian says Vuka. I was like wondering, Vuka? Vuka? But yeah, verse seen here.
Or it's the work of your perfidious Earthshakers. Only a fool would not suspect a traitorous Archon of poisoning the mind of his students with sedition. We would have killed the Earthshakers Guild for their master's treachery, but I'm sure you have some perfectly valid reason for allowing them to live as your pawns.
Nice voice for him too. The Archon of Secrets passes a scepter between his hands as he speaks, twirling the rod in hypnotic circles. Emerald luminescence seeps from the seams of the Archon's racked red robes. The glow is most noticeable where his neck ought to be. His mask seems to float and spin, never pivoting or bending naturally. Shakers.
Hey, watch yourself. When these two get going, you don't want to get between them.
Verse whispers carefully as she beholds the Archons. I think I'll follow them for the moment. I could do this. Like, I will either do this or this. But I don't want to start clearing my throat. I'll listen and I'll find a little bit more out what's going on. First, I guess, remain silent.
I always know you've run out of things to say when you resort to mocking my vassals. If we are to speak of treachery, why is it that my scouts see the Scarlet Chorus warriors defecting back to the Vendrian Guard? Your fearsome reputation has gone flaccid, for it seems you cannot control your soldiers, or perhaps you simply choose not to.
Defecting back to the Vendrian Guard, yeah. Those that we were fighting against. Then Iron Marshal Irenius. My lords, the Fatebinder has arrived. The disfavored commander raises her voice. So. My lords, the Fatebinder has arrived. Perhaps we could table this discussion and let our quest speak.
Speaking of strategic failures, who was it that insisted the valley would need only a token garrison? For some strange reason, we can't seem to recall which balding halfwit grossly underestimated the enemy. Thoughts?
Thoughts? The Archon of Secrets swirls his scepter in a twisting loop, his leather-wrapped hands flipping the heavy rod with an effortless flow. I will still remain silent. They can choke on each other's, I guess.
And I thought you had left agents within these Tearsmen when they surrendered. Either you failed to see this coming, or you knew and let it happen. Incompetent or in cahoots, either way, this mess has your filthy stink all over it.
They can just blame each other's all the day, all the time. The Archon of War lurches forward, resting his weight on his war maul as blue luminescence crackles around his armor. It's mind talk with you. Okay, I don't understand what you exactly over the green text. Okay. I've seen that there's different things sometimes, but I don't really know what you mean by that. But okay.
We look forward to seeing you
I didn't
explain
know
to
that.
Tunon why the Archon of War could not close the vice on this trivial little insurgency. When we are crowned the ruler of the Tears, we shall have this place renamed to Ash's Folly in your honor.
Because I know this stuff just gives me information, but I didn't know that there's something special about his scepter. Like, I just looked at okay, but I don't really know why he's talking to me with that scepter then. Don't really know if I would want to even know about his scepter talking to me. Catching it as it descends back down, but yeah, I wouldn't... You hear the voices in your head. Hello, Fate Pinder, we know you can hear us. Now you know we know you know. Come on, these meetings with Ashe are so boring. Cough if we have your attention. I haven't. Well, it makes sense that I just have been ignoring them then. If they have before also wanted me to cough, then that hasn't been something I've done after all. I'm still tempted to remain silent though, even though they, so to speak, have my attention now. But yeah, I definitely didn't, like, I know that there usually is something, but, like, I didn't think that it would be anything that interesting about the freaking scepter. Like, what would I be thinking that that's somehow important, to me at least. Okay, let's scroll up. Okay, so it's been twice before, like I was thinking. So it's basically the same thing. Cough if we have your attention. Cough if we have your attention. So it's all the time like the same thing though. So it's not like I've actually missed anything. It's the same stuff thus far because I haven't coughed at all. So it's only the same thing anyways. Maybe I would have noticed it at some point, but I don't know. Well, I won't be acknowledging it, at least not yet. I don't wanna. I wanted to remain silent and see what they talk.
If I could trust the information I get from you and your conscripted mouth breathers, perhaps I'd order my cohorts around a bit more aggressively. But last time I trusted your all-clear report, my troops failed to come home.
Oh, Ash, old boy. If you're going to have a little sob every time one of your nieces or nephews dies to the Tearsmen, perhaps we should have Siren sing you some calming lullabies to help you cope with your grief.
You hear the voices in your head. Suit yourself, Fate Pinder. The more you ignore us, the more what will happen. The Archon humming gleefully. That would have happened naturally to me anyways, cause I wouldn't have noticed to look into that anymore. Yes, there's a lot of orange text that has plenty of interesting information. Some that I have looked more into, some that I've looked less into. But it's like, do I want to read every little tidbit and then, like, definitely this I had no idea about. Like, how would I know about this sort of thing? Other than, yeah, I noticed that it was different color, but, like, I don't really understand why. I don't like voices in my head anyways. I don't like... No. Hold your tongue. I will not have you denigrate the honor of our fallen brethren. The commander's hands moves to the hilt of her blade, though her weapon stays sheathed. I'd be doing us all a favor if I cracked open the excuse for a head. Then the fifth eye. They bicker like children, do they not? The fifth eye crate in tenor pierces the tension tent, and all eyes land on the Crimson Spear. Meant only to say welcome. Welcome to our quest, the Fate Binder. The armored retainer poses with rushed inelegance, then rises to a salute, and not a moment too soon. Well, I got favor for both of them, apparently, suddenly. Governor Kide, long have we been honored by your iron. Now we are honored by your presence. I must apologize for my lords. Tempers run high of late. I can be cautious to them, both the Archons. Apologies for the sudden entrance. I've traveled long to be here.
Ah, the fire starter has arrived. Welcome, welcome. Our agents tell us such lovely stories of what you did at the Vellum Citadel. Have you come bearing another fragment of Kairos' wrath in tow?
This much is certainly true. Well, what have you now? Well, because now it's on the other hand about just my history. Like, I don't really know why then that text is different when this is about my history. Why is this also green? Why is the Congress decisions the same stuff as the Sun and Voices talking to me? No, I do not like someone else being in my head. Choices that you didn't pick was chosen randomly. I don't understand again what you mean by that. What choices? I've chosen all the Congress decisions. At least, if that's what you mean, or do you mean that because I didn't talk to them, then something got chosen now to me, which would suck, because definitely I wouldn't think that would need to be any choices anymore. At the start, well, I chose everything by myself at the start. There's not random choices for me. I chose everything. So, there is no randomness there. I've chose them. So, of course I would choose them myself. You weren't there that I was choosing everything. No, I don't understand what you're meaning then, Bervados. I don't get it. It was always fork? Yes, I had choices to make. I don't understand what you mean other side of fork was chosen by random. I don't understand. Like, I made my choices, then other choices, like what happened in different places, like Apex would have chosen, like, okay, what happened in Apex, randomly chosen what happened there, or something like that. But, like, okay, but it's not exactly my choices then. Okay, just, like, how I would explain it would be the other world events that I could have also been the one to choose what exactly happened, were then chosen randomly, like what would be happening, so that it's a different world for each player at different times. But like, it just sounds very weirdly when I try to like read what you wrote before. I couldn't really get it from that. It's cool enough that it can be different, but yeah, it's yeah, it's not like it can't be helped that you can't write it better. It's not like I can't really blame anyone for that, but yeah, it was very difficult for me to try to figure out what you mean, especially because then when you said about me being here with this discussion and not reacting to that certain stuff, first that comes into my mind. Okay, maybe you are talking about this conversation here, that some choices were then chosen randomly, which would have been very weird, but possible. Weird, but possible. But then having to go and try to think like, and then on the other hand, there is already the randomness. You can choose that, hey, I don't want to choose what things I went through. You could just say that, hey, just make these Congress decisions for me completely. So then also it would be completely 100% random. But at least I chose my own answers completely. So it's like, again, depends like how you think about it. And yeah, just... But I want to go forward. But yeah, Firestarter has a right. But I do get annoyed of the fact that there was that talk to me with the scepter, but then this is the same green color, at least to my eyes. This is also green color, and this is just my Congress decision. It would be a lot nicer if these were then different colors so that you could easily know that, okay, hey, that's a blue color. I've never seen that before, that maybe that's something different. Because I was thinking that I'm pretty sure I've seen green colors before too, and I've been on top of them and seen that there's some text like this, but this is just telling about my decision that I made. So that's a complaint that I would have about that nonetheless. Yes, of course you can't choose everything because you weren't in every place, so some of them are chosen randomly. Yep, I think it's fine. At least the games will be different for everyone. Yep, I understand, but like I said, that makes sense. It's not like I can be everywhere. So the things that if there is multiple choices that they have anyways calculated for what would have happened overall in the world, depending how much they have an effect, it's cool enough that they can be randomized. But fine. Yes, I have another story for you. I'm a Firestarter after all.
We were worried you'd never make it. So glad that Drostus' demise didn't cause further delay.
The Archon of Secret turns his attention to you. The frozen rectus fashioned into his bronze mask greets you with a permanent smile. But there, he already knows about Drostus dying. That was, I guess, the commander in there. Well, I come bearing an edict of Kairos.
It seemed only yesterday you were proving your worth in battle, assisting my warriors in the siege of the bastard city. Now Kairos has chosen you for a second time to proclaim an edict. Tell us, good Fatebinder, what sort of punishment does the Overlord have in store for the Oathbreakers?
It's unfortunately not for the Oathbreakers. But yeah, I was assisting them in taking over the bastard city. Alright, I'll go with this one, I think. You hear Mark Hamill. I couldn't be making it out that well, but hey, and welcome to the stream, the Roy Nasty, and yeah. I hope you've had a good week and everything. And sorry, Pervados, if I, well, like, my reaction wouldn't be the best. But yeah, it's just annoying sometimes when I'm like, I want to go forward in the game, and then trying to, like, start to be figuring out exactly the meaning that what you wanted to, like, tell to me. But yeah, it's cool enough. So, my apologies for not the best reaction, I guess. But yeah, it's of course like I would like to be playing forward. I'm in the middle of this conversation in here and then suddenly started to think about what exactly is the randomness, and I made the choices and so on and forth. So my apologies regardless. Okay, but yeah, I think I'll go with the second one. This is the edict. It seems you need some encouragement to work together. Kairos' edict will end the lives of everyone in this valley unless Ascension Hall is claimed by Kairos' Day of Swords. Apparently Vrad from the Voices of Narada, but then the other way around. The earth sways with each word you utter, the air thickening with warmth as you pronounce the tersely phrased commandment. Is every syllable drafted by the hand of Kairos. With the edict proclaimed, your pulse quickens and the muscles in your legs, worn from a long trip down the mountain, feel renewed. The tired limbs now nearly buoyant with vigor. But yeah, now Now it's cast upon the land. And okay, Vervados, but yeah, just wanted to make sure, because I know that it may come up a little bit weirdly sometimes when I talk. I can be stubborn anyways as a person. Stubborn person. Cool looking.
The Overlord means to compel us into action. No doubt the avalanches in the mountains are part of this ultimatum. We must conquer the Oathbreakers or die in failure. There is no room for error, and no other way out of this valley alive.
Indeed, Craven Ashe.
We'll need to advance across the Matani. We lose everything if we stand still. And we move to back up Plan Green. The Earthshakers didn't make it over the mountain in time. So we do this the hard way. Over the walls instead of through.
The Archon of War taps a finger against his temple. A lower rumble escapes from under his beard.
So you found your backbone at last! Oh, we were worried past humiliations would make you soft, timid. That was a record for you, right? The baker's dozen lost in one sortie. If you had waited for the chorus reinforcements, maybe we'd have eyes and ears on the matter.
The Archon of Secret passes his scepter from one hand to the next, suckling softly with each toss. Okay, goddamn stupid voices talking to me again. You hear the voices in your head. What's him squirm? So many tears over replaceable, expandable, useless soldiers. I miss the old Archon of War. You'd never see blood echo in a blubbering mess over a few dead killers. He used the knuckle bones of his best disciples for jewelry and even made a breastplate out of his dead brothers. Rip case, because that's how a real man deals with grief. Sure. You're just talking to me so that the other person doesn't hear. They call you the Archon of Secrets, but you certainly don't seem to know anything remotely useful. Kinda seems logical. I'm not a good kid, Milan. Not a good kid. There's no good kiddes around. After all, I'm a kid of the tyrant. I brought the words that will kill everyone in this valley. So, yeah, I'm a tyrant. I'm a tyrant servant. That's not a good kid. I couldn't imagine someone that is good to be working for a tyrant. So, impossible equation. What do I want to say? I guess I'll say this. Speak all you wish, you're just wasting valuable time.
The Fatebinder is right. We're acting not as leaders, but as children. I've no time for your foolish japes and petty taunts. We should focus on the objective at hand, and that is taking the Matani River, and then advancing to Ascension Hall and ending this edict.
Good even as a tyrant. Well, thank you, Milan. Maybe there will be plenty of hanged people. I do not know. I do not see into the future. Good question. Who would I be talking to? It just feels so natural not to just side on one or side with one person, even though the Voices of Narada is the more the person that is more bickering in a sense that they really mock the other one. So in that sense, I would like to be responding a little bit like, Voices of Narada, I trust you're done acting the clown and will have your horde ready to march with all haste. But I guess she killing people fast, that's why good. I don't know, Pervados. I have no idea. But on the other hand, I'm not at least going to say to the disfavored specifically. I expect the disfavored to be at the march at once. But, okay. So, I think this would be the logical one, though. Then enough talking, there's work to be done. My lord, Parik and his band have been drilled onto the Echo Call assault plan. The Crescent Runner should be briefing him as we speak regarding the latest enemy movements along the river. I will dispatch him at once. The Iron Marshal salutes, clapping her gauntlet to her breastplate. Barik. Though you know him only by name, Barik is a commander of the Stone Shields and well regarded by the disfavored High Command. And I will ensure the chorus stands ready to march. If the disfavored can take the river, the chorus has the manpower to secure the outer ring of the valley. Okay, good. Fifth Eye and the commanders of these.
Our soldiers clamor for battle, and at last we shall have it. Verse, we command you to continue guarding the Fatebinder. Tunan's Chosen is our honored guest, and must be shown our finest hospitality.
Uh-huh. Totally. It's not like you wanted her to go and try to, spy upon me anyways. It's not like you wanted anything of a sort. You just want to make sure I stay well alive. Yes, I'm sure. Hello, Chim Chim. How are you? It's been a while that I've seen you here. Well, not last week at least. Last weekend. So how's your week? How have you been? I hope your week has been good. I like Tyranny thus far. I definitely last Saturday was feeling that I would really like to play more Tyranny. But sadly, I have to wait for the next Friday to be able to play more. So, sadly, a long wait in between, but hey, can't be helped. That's how it is. But, right. Finest hospitality, yes, sure.
I won't let you down, boss. She'll get through the campaign in one piece, as long as she doesn't do anything too stupid.
Uh-huh.
And, Fatebinder, one last thing. We still haven't forgotten how you handed over our agents to the disfavored just before the burning library sparked into being. We would be a fool to believe that Tunon sent us an impartial Fatebinder, but prove us wrong. Prove us wrong.
How you handed over our agents to this fair just before the burning library sparked in the bean. Sure, maybe I did that, but on the other hand, I did give you time to warn everyone that happened to be in the burning library. You know, I did do that part. I let every one of your possible people inside the place escape. You should also remember that, Voices of Narada. Like, even if I would be partial in some things, but I definitely haven't been partial in everything. But yes, I know, I gave some of those mages, and I guess I shouldn't have, but, well. We would be a fool to believe that Tunon sent us an impartial Fatebinder, but prove us wrong, prove us wrong. How lovely of you to talk like that, the Voices of Narada. Crazy weeks for Chim Chim's life. I hope it hasn't been in a bad way. You can make 2 to 3 days of Tyranny. Yeah, but on the other hand, I'm trying to do also the recording of Disco Elysium and Dragon Age and stuff like that. So I could stream more days per week, but on the other hand, I do want to do also Let's Plays and record, so that's the only bad thing. Yeah, his voice makes him out to be an extremely great person. Good and bad. Yeah, hope more good. Yeah, well, he is definitely at least a dick. Alright. The Archon twirls his scepter one last time, then taps the 5th eye on the shoulder, and the 2 depart. You hear the voices in your head. Suit yourself, Fatebinder. The more you ignore us. I didn't ignore you specifically the last time, but whatever. Or didn't try to.
Finally, the fool and his puppet are gone. Perhaps now I can hear myself think. Rarely do I question Kairos' judgment, but I will never understand why the Voices of Narada is given such authority. I shudder to think what will become of us all should Tunon favor him in the end.
I don't think he's, at this current moment at least, favoring either one.
Though the edict threatens the Scarlet Chorus just as it threatens us, I cannot shake the feeling that our allies will work against us.
Possibly to some degree at least.
You've shown your worth in war, and your name has been known to the Legion since the very beginning of this long conquest. So I'd ask that you join us this one last time, to help us wrap up this last objective.
Well, it's my life's at stake as well, so yes.
If you wish to be counted amongst the glorious, speak with the Iron Marshal. She will direct the order of battle until we are ready for the final push into the Citadel.
Besides, I do have to have a question for the Voices of Narada. How would there ever be a possibility to have like a Fatebinder that is completely 100% impartial, as in be completely equal to both sides? I don't think that would ever in a million years be a possibility. But anyways, I'm short a few scouts, short a few soldiers, short a few everything. I'm sure my brethren would be grateful for the assistance of a skilled outsider. I would be honored to help. The Iron Marshal salutes Craven Ashe, then turns to leave the tent. I will be at the training grounds, ready in the soldiers. Find me there when you are ready. She pauses, clearing her throat. And though I'm loath to mention it, the chorus can likely use your assistance. They certainly won't secure the Outer Valley on their own. Fifth Eye will be somewhere in that rat's nest they call a camp due east. Seek him out if you must. Well, I will try to help both sides, I'd say. I have a level up, yay! Edict of Execution. +1 to resolve. The Overlord has decreed that all in the valley on Kairos' day as swords shall die unless Kairos' representative holds Ascension Valley. We all have it. Wow, that's a short level up bonus. Just like a little bit. Hey, you have a level up bonus. Yeah, that's a lot of a level up bonus. It's everywhere. But hey, it's more resolve. That's fine by me. I'm happy with some extra resolve. I wonder how the level up exactly works. This is just customizing the portrait. I shouldn't have done that. Like try to look attributes 1 point, so I can increase 1 point. Okay. And then I'm not sure if I can put something into there. Maybe, maybe not. Just be random. I want to see who will be Kida in the end. 1 attribute point and 1 perk point per level. Okay. So I can't put any points into tier specifically straight up, but I can put them into tier, which will of course influence also these skills to some degree. This does increase subterfuge just a little bit too, and then it would just be a little bit of quickness. This one then, on the other hand, increases different things. Well, I would say that I'm either going to increase lore a little, or the, well, wits a little bit more, or I will increase the quickness just a little bit more. I am tempted to increase this just a little bit more. It gives anyways subterfuge too, that I was thinking that I would like to increase it, to be honest, a little bit. So it would increase that, and then otherwise, what do you guys say? Do we go with a little bit more extra quickness at this point? I think that's okay, choice at the very least. Of course, then I would like to get lots more of wits. So, we'll see. 5 skill points per level. Okay. Only from trainers. Alright. That sounds kind of weird, but okay, I'll just get this now. But these are still something that I could increase, but they would be from training them specifically in a different sort of a location, so to speak. By the way, what's the... I guess that the experiences will go into elsewhere if I lock these, that these things will not be increased with experience. So then they will not be increased and all the experience will not go into these, but rather go into other places. Well, magic staff is going to be the only one from there, certainly, but as such, I don't think any of these are bad to increase, so I don't mind increasing them all a little bit. Athletics also can give other stuff after all. Traversing difficult terrain and stuff like that. Yeah, I noticed it at some point. Well, I came and checked a little bit like what was up here, but yeah, you can apparently unlock and lock them. So locking skill growth will prevent this character from gaining experience in the skill through normal gameplay interactions. So I assume then the experience would have to go elsewhere. Use this if you want to allow this character to level up as a result of this skill changing, but I have no idea how this exactly means. But anyways. To level up quicker, okay. Level up quicker. Well, then I guess I could do also these, but on the other hand, they don't. I'm quite close with magic staff, lore, these of course, and subterfuge I would definitely at least keep up. Parry, dodge I could, and maybe athletics to turn off, but athletics at least I'm already gaining experience in, so You can respec all after some point from specific trainer. Yeah, well, we'll see about that then. I can't take leadership, that requires level 3. I can take magic though, so let's see. Grants a bonus to lore skill, seems like a reasonable one, plus 10 to lore, pretty good. Then this one is arcane charge, plus adds plus 15 to all magic skills for 20-second spell, preach affliction. Or charged strike. Frost versus magic. I think I'll take the lore. That seems good for me at the very least. For the moment at least I can take first lore, and because I have anyways full spells at the moment. Like I have as many as I can have. I did gain that from somewhere though. Yes. That wouldn't work with that at least. Range sigil. Like adding that into there. Okay. Accents. Can I add a lot of stuff? I guess I can add a lot of stuff. I could try to add all of them there. That's cool. Yeah, I'll try to see about if we can do something more. But now I have 10 more lore as a result after all. So I can do a little bit more complex spells. Now it's even 63 already as a result. So that's cool. Magical prodigy plus 10 to lore. The lore skill indeed determines a character's ability to decipher information, put together clues, and stuff. There's more pages of skills too, right? Yeah, lore is the limit, yep. But skills? I see only these skills at least. I don't think there is more. Like, I'm scrolling as much as possible. I think there is only this amount. Like, I think there could be more magical skills, but these are the ones that I... Like, you could have chosen 2 other magical stuff, and then they would be a skills, but I definitely do not have them, so... Perks. Only perks. Okay. So, but yeah. This is just the one that I think that's a good starting place, though. I wonder, should I go and just see about what sort of spells would I then like to have exactly? There's not really, because it makes sense to do the best spells we can into these spots anyways. Let's see. If we go for the one frost first anyways. Let's do the distant one first. Select a range sigil. That's good one at the very least. Accent that increases the range of spells. Area that the spell affects. Duration of spell effects. That seems a little bit weird for this though. That would be too expensive though, sadly. Almost would be there, but not quite. But on the other hand, this already has some extra range, so I think this is better than area that the spell affects, maybe. But on the other hand, then I guess I would have to be a little bit careful that it probably could also affect my allies. Frozen Affliction. I don't know. I guess I could try this nonetheless. At least first. Then I would like to have this one, definitely. That at least a little bit higher range would be cool, because 2 meters is such a small amount of range, so just having a little bit more would be cool, and having it last longer is also a good one. So let's have it there. A proper, big, good Titan's touch, with everything possible I can do for the moment. Longer freeze is good, maybe. Like, I was just trying to think, like, how does it work? Out of money because of it, yeah. Sigils robbed you. But that's at least good, for certainty. Then lightning spell. I definitely also would want a distant lightning spell. Stunned affliction. This at least, I think the time would be pretty nice. Even though it doesn't seem like it does that big of a difference, but still a little bit. And then I can do it a little bit for future away. Then I will not have this for this one, but that's fine. That's a cool little spell. I guess I could do also this one expression used to create spell that affects single targets near the caster, or affect distant targets. Yeah, we can have one close up one as well, and have just a little bit higher range for it, and then have this at least do the duration. So higher duration, one person, have to be pretty close up though for this freeze. Then this, of course, that will be really pretty nice for a longer duration and stuff. And then this for a longer, I can do the stun from a further away distance and stun a little bit longer than otherwise, and this then has the area effect, the very first one. Okay, well, that's some stuff at least. Be it good or not, I am not certain about that. But nonetheless. Yeah, that's not a lot of days. 8 days to Kairos' Day of Swords. That ain't much. The Archon of War lets out a long sigh as he surveys the maps and models played about his desk. He glances over his shoulder, making brief eye contact with you, furrows his brow, and turns back to his contemplation. The first time you proclaimed the edict, you gave the enemy a suspicious amount of time to ready themselves. I chalk it up to excessive mercy for a backwoods people, but when the edict against your kin, that order you follow to the letter. Well, kind of true, but it's not like there was a choice in the matter anyways. It's not like this will be any different. We will have it at the 8th day. It's anyways 8 days that we have to capture it. It's not like it is immediate that I read it out and it happened immediately that we get destroyed. So, both the Archon, may we speak a moment? You have been a staunch ally of the disfavored since the bastard city. I consider you our ally in the court. My mind is in a poor mood for pander, but if you wish a moment of my time, you may have it. What is it? What is in your mind? Your regiment here in the Ventrian's Well is small, even by disfavored standards. This conquest has us spread thin. Every league we conquer must be held. I issued the call to assemble, but most of the cohorts remain trapped across the mountains. Trapped. No porter. Won't be the first time I've had to do much with little. What became of the warriors who left the garrison this region years ago? I too have questions about that. The Archon inhales sharply. His posture becomes defensive. His gold blue eyes stare at you with the unblinking intensity. I have reason to believe that when the garrison was taken, the disfavored were slain not by the Oathbreakers, and though I know in my bones, I cannot prove the Voices of Narada is at fault. But it's definitely possible that they would be. Heal spell that will stun you. Alright, that's interesting. But yeah, I like the sigil system. I like how you can make your own spells. Yeah, but I have liked the sigil system at least thus far. Sigil doing that. That's something, yes. Well, what is your recent beliefs as a thing? It is well known that I can protect my soldiers from harm even if they are beyond my sight. What is less known is that I sense every cut, every kill, every illness. No harm to my soldiers escapes my notice. Of the warriors posted at the Ventrian Well Citadel, only 2 were slain in the uprising, but a few others died later, and horribly painful magic was involved. My son was one of those who died under such unusual circumstances. For a second, the Archon of War trembles, his eyes widening with a faraway stare. I'm sorry for your son. Yeah. The TS men have customs against killing prisoners. I'd expect your warriors to be slain in the heat of battle, but not after. 12 lore skill experience, woohoo! Do they? I suppose I am guilty of paying little heed to what those hill folk believe. This makes it all the more troubling they died when they did. I need to consider what you have told me. Let us speak of something else. Interesting. What can you tell me of Cairn, the late Archon of Stone? As tall as the hills Cairn is the Archon of Stone. Earthshaker Guild, yeah. Object of study. Yeah, so he was the one that was talked that we will have to do without. I should have known sooner his heart straight from Kairos. I needed to split our forces, send him to a sewer while I tracked Tackle Stalwart, but that was a mistake. Without me looming near, he must have felt free to live out his traitorous dreams. Well, what has become of Cairn's disciples, the Earthshakers? Cairn's chief disciple, Radix, now speaks for the guild. It is true that my warriors are a bit apprehensive about our magical allies. Many suspect Cairn's treachery was taught to them, but I have vetted the guild, pruned whom I don't trust, kept those I can. Why do you think he turned against Kairos? Cairn only served us because that was the alternative. He did not admire the unity and progress that Kairos brings. While I suspect Kairos agents may have whispered treachery in Cairn's ears, I think it fully possible Cairn fell into disloyalty by his own volition. Okay, something else then. Your distrust of the Voices of Narada is plain as day. How did this antipathy begin? Our rivalry is an old one. The Voices of Narada served Kairos before I did, and I believe he hates me for being a of roughly the same status in the eyes of the Overlord, despite being the young Archon selected to lead the army through the tears. The Archon furrows his brow, crumbling softly as stares. This war seems to have brought out the worst in us. We've disagreed on strategy at every turn. Makes sense. Sigil is very gotta catch them all. Yeah, gotta catch all the sigils. If I have my history right, you used to fight against Nerat. More lore experience. I was thinking that this should give me lore experience, and it did. Woohoo! And that is true. There was a time before I was the Archon of War. A time when I took arms against the Overlord. At the time the Voices of Narada was among those invading the lands I called home. So there was Blood Echo, the previous Archon of War. My warriors and I ambushed and killed the old Archon of War, but the larger campaign was lost, and we had to surrender. When Kairos awarded me the honor of being the next Archon of War, the Voices of Narada wanted me for his slave pens, or some equally terrible fate. So yes, he and I have a long history, and that's all I wish to speak of it. Okay, Salute turned to leave, that is all. For the glory of Kairos, the Archon of War taps the haft of his maul to the ground for emphasis, then turns back to his maps. Okay. There's stuff here though. This battle report from the Echo Call Crossing claims the failure of the assault on the village on the Scarlet Chorus. Apparently their scouts failed to report critical intelligence about the enemy's composition. It feels so wrong to, like, is it really okay to them that I just go and
wasn't so hard.
Look into this, though? Like, trying to look how good is this? Ceremonial. Fate Binder of Two Known Clothes. I guess those are good. It's just like, it feels weird to take stuff from them. But I guess it's okay for them. Even if it's weird to me to go and loot their things. It's okay, they don't mind. Yeah, but it's weird. Jeez, few spelling mistakes here. Okay, skills gain experience as they are used and increase their rank with enough experience. Indeed. So it has seemed to be. Certainly enough. Yeah, to me it seems really weird to be able to take everything, and they are just totally like, yeah, just it's yours. I guess in a sense that, okay, we are an Archon, so maybe everything could possibly belong to us, but it still feels just wrong, you know? Maybe I should at least stop the dodge and the parry, because they will hardly gain anything to them anyway, so maybe I should lock them. Maybe I should. So close. Did you pick it up? Do I need to look it from here? Iron Walker Gauntlets. Should I change into them? They're heavy armor though. So probably I should be wearing the light armor. Recovery would be longer in this, so probably not something I should wear though, even if they would be decent otherwise. Difficult to choose though. Alright. Couldn't help but notice how you were eyeballing the disfavored symbol littered about camp. It's hardly a symbol, just a scroll. That's true, but I used to be the pride of Craven Ash's Legion before Kairos made them deface it. It used to be. What happened exactly, Verse? Word has it that Ashe has been under more scrutiny than the other Archons seen as he took a stand against Kairos in the past. Even though he bent the knee in the end, that doesn't place him above suspicions. Kairos and the other Archons keep him on the tight leash. Yep, that's what I heard from him himself as well. Ashe's troops impressed the Crowing Empire, but Kairos made them sacrifice everything they were up to the point of Ashe surrendered. They've been disfavored ever since. Losing my voice a little bit. They've been disfavored ever since and fighting to earn back their honor. I guess that's why you don't cross the Overlord. Kairos holds a crutch with a mean jealous streak. Go on then, verse nods.
What do you need?
Let's see, I could be asking about some stuff. Care the tool? Interesting. Tell me something about yourself.
If you insist. I'm a Scarlet Fury. That should raise some flags for you. It means that I'm good at killing, and more importantly, that I enjoy it. What I won't enjoy are the pleasures of funerary rites packed with weeping mourners. Someday I'll fall in battle, and then they'll roll me into a mass grave or heap me atop a shit-stained wagon. One more anonymous, knife-riddled piece of meat.
Sounds lovely.
Until then, I plan to take whatever I can from life and have a little fun along the way.
Just a little bit of fun. Yeah, boys will have a lot of work in this game. Yeah, being an ignored kleptomaniac is the true way of RPG protagonist, which is weird though. It is weird. Depends, of course. I guess here it could be slightly acceptable because we are the Fatebinder. We are kind of above everyone, to some degree at least, from my point of view. So, I guess, but on the other hand, I would still think that stealing is still stealing, but oh well. Tell me about your life before the chorus. Life? What life? As far as I'm concerned, I didn't exist before the chorus. There was some girl in a farm wearing my face and talking with my voice, but she wasn't me. Sometimes she would sneak out at night, take a sight, and have some fun with the livestock. Our shared interests began and ended there. When the Scarlet Chorus swept through my village, on their lone trek from the bastard city, that was when I finally woke up. I buried my old life, took red vengeance on anyone who'd wronged me, and found the freedom I could only dream was out there. What of your parents? My mother ran a successful farm, and I worked it for a number of years before I found the chorus. She was a hard, bitter woman, acted like the world owed her something. She never talked about my father, though I figured out a thing or two about him later on. He was a merchant from the Northern Empire who took a liking to her, and she him. He stayed around only long enough to get what he wanted. But never mind him, my mother never had what you would call taste, so he couldn't have been terribly influential to me if he did stick around. Do you ever wish you could do things over and end up somewhere other than the Kairos' army? That's as naive a question I've ever heard. Kairos is everywhere. If you aren't in the Overlord's army, you're being trampled by it. That certainly is true, though, in this world. Of course, I could have labored on the family farm into my maturing years, married some dolt, and littered him a nursery squealing piglets, having my body torn to pieces by smaller versions of me sounding like fun. Sounds like fun, very much fun. The one day, when I decided enough was enough, I'd slit my husband's throat over breakfast and run off to join the chorus anyway. My way saved a lot of time. Verse smooths back to feathers in her hair and shakes her head with a smile. Well, what do I want to say? Well, she wants to be in here, so fine enough. If she wants, just you are a killer seems a little bit silly, but if that's what she wants, and seems to be that she wants, at least that's the thing that she's told to herself that this is what she wants, then sure enough, I wouldn't say that she should be giving some other life a chance if she doesn't want it, so. Yeah. You can set options that will allow to see reputation gain or lose from dialogue. Yeah, well, I don't know if I have those on or not, but I know that I put at least some stuff to see less. I do see some stuff, like I see that, hey, did they gain something or not, but anyways. Well, you're a killer, better to stick with the chorus. Like, it gave me this information that gained loyalty with verse, building a reputation, achievement unlocked. At least you understand. The chorus praises and rewards the thing inside me that I would suppress in civilized company. Life is too short to repress every desire, right? Especially if I have anything to say about it. I don't know exactly how you mean, Pervados. Again, but is it okay that I play like this now, or would I need to go and change something? Like, I'm quite happy not to know the exact numbers, so it's, on the other hand, it's nice to know at least that did we gain something. Like, we saw here that we did gain some loyalty, but I don't know. Well, how did you get conscripted? How did I think you have the wrong idea about me. The course didn't take me as a sopping maid. I strolled into their camp and enlisted. Someone tossed me a dented plate, I lived through initiation, spent a week butchering my neighbors, and moved on with my new kin. I didn't waste time with goodbyes. My mother had long since died, and the rest of my family were louses. The girl I used to be. Even she knew that she was worth more than all of them combined. Well, what's the significance of your fetters then? We are getting awfully chummy, so I guess you deserve a story. My mother kept a messenger bird, Whittlebeak. He was an angry old bastard, spoiled from living the high life, squawked in my window every single night, pecked my fingers while I fed him only the fattest, juiciest mice. When I left the farm to join the Scarlet Chorus, I wrung that ungrateful little fucker like a dish rack, plucked his sweaters, and gave his carcass to the mice. It felt like justice. She slides a crimson feather from her hair and spins it in her fingers. All right, well, you had a bird who wasn't grateful, and then as a reward for not being grateful enough for being fed mice, you killed it and fed it to the mice. How lovely. Sorry. I also like how the feathers catch the breeze, helps me keep my balance, especially when I'm moving fast. She slips the feather among the others and smooths it back. Alright, that's enough questions about your past. That suits me just fine. I'm not much for comparing family histories if I can avoid it. Well, tell me about your time with the Scarlet Chorus.
The Scarlet Chorus is mostly for madmen and peasants with rusty daggers, but it's also a little niche of freedom that I never had. Once I survived training and met my Scarlet Fury sisters, I saw a different side of the howling mob.
I can understand. Tell me about your training.
For new recruits shoved to the front lines, training means surviving the first battle. Anything beyond that is for the fighters who show potential, whether as blade dancers or arcane madmen. There's nothing in the world like getting put through the paces as a Scarlet Fury. Every day is a test of your commitment and passion. Failure means death. The first few weeks were the hardest, but also the most rewarding. I earned my name, picked up some quality weapons, and met my sisters.
Tell me about the Scarlet Furies, your sisters.
The elite fighters of the Scarlet Chorus. Your typical Horde recruit fights with a rusty spoon and a chip on his shoulder, but the Scarlet Furies are, well, different. We focus our madness. We coordinate, we kill, we dance. It's like art. Imagine a sculpture that twisted in weird, beautiful angles, and then gutted you too fast for you to realize what was happening.
Should I then go and it sounds wonderful or not? Do you ever hear yourself when you talk? I'm kind of not the happiest to say either one of these, even though they would be logical conclusions to this. But so, you earned your name. If you think a simple farmer from the Tears would name her child Verse, I suggest you visit my old villains. Most of them were walking around with surnames like Barrel or Fish. Not the most creative bunch, she smirks and shakes her head. The chorus takes your name away. Whoever you were before, you aren't that person anymore. Then you earn back a name through great deeds, usually murderous ones. That's why you see showmen walking around with names like Stinkmouse or Face First. There's probably a good reason for it. The Voices of Narada gave me this name. When the Scarlet Chorus runs howling into battle, he doesn't hear war. He hears a symphony. And when I fight with blade or bow, he told me that my music stands out louder than anyone else's, and contains too many parts to be easily defined. When you least suspect it, the Archon of Secrets can be downright charming. I wonder what is her real name. She probably doesn't know, doesn't remember, doesn't care. That question isn't worthy of either of us, but I'll entertain it out of pity. I know that you wouldn't like that. You already know me by my real name, it's Verse, and you looking for whatever arbitrary collection of letters and sounds my mother thought was appropriate when she didn't even know me? Then you're out of luck. I buried that name long ago, long by my standards anyway. Yes, like I assumed as much. Tell me about your weapon skills then. When I was just a kid, it didn't take me long to realize I was a natural. I could pick up a rusty kitchen knife and skewer a rat from across the room. That's pretty skilled. The Scarlet Chorus gave me opportunities to further educate myself. My sisters were always a bit surprised by how quickly I took to different fighting styles. She frowns for a moment and then shakes off whatever she wanted to say. I'm tempted to go back to this and say that, hey, it's either wonderful or the other one, but I'm not sure which one I would want to pick, so I guess I won't. Back to my question about the Scarlet Chorus.
What do you need to know?
Before, you hesitated when you brought up your fighting styles. Why? Notice that, did you? It's a matter that I am not used to discussing, mostly because I don't know how. I mentioned before that I'm good at picking up different weapons and fighting techniques. The truth is, I'm better than good. I could flay a man so cleanly that I'd leave a single strip of skin behind. He wouldn't even need to be tied down. That was one of the first things I discovered about myself after joining the Scarlet Chorus. The Voices of Narada recognized it in me as well, which is why he singled me out for Scarlet Fury training. Have you tried that flame trick before? I'm kind of interested. I gotta ask. Let's just say that when we ran out of canvas for pitching tents, the fifth eye handed me a knife and pointed me to a prison bench. To the prison bench, she winks. Yep, lovely to know that you are pitching up tents from prison nurse skins. Good to know, good to know. Alright. So, you know why she was called that in there? My sisters were the masters of their fighting forms, but since they died, my style has changed. Almost like I can kill, as they did. I could pick up a bow, a lance, anything really. I could tear someone to pieces with a weapon that I only watched my sisters use. I don't know what it could mean, and that worries me. Well, maybe you're just a natural. I do not know. Who are your sisters? Who were they would be more appropriate. 3 Whispers, Red Geyser, and Seeking Sheet. Best fighters I ever met. There wasn't a foe we couldn't take down together. Our fighting styles complemented perfectly, so we divided up the killing work like Bart sharing a song. At least we used to. She presents a solemn salute. Tell me about 3 Whispers. She was as calm as the surface of a pond, the light on her feet. More than one foe tripped and fell on their own plate due to the whisper's crafty woodwork. Verse lets her gaze slip away from you as fleeting moment of sorrow steals her attention. What about Red Geyser? A one-woman siege breaker, she would launch herself at her foes like a battering ram. Not even a disfavored phalanx could have withstood that dumb suicidal wench. Kyros's eyes, but she was something to behold. Verse slams her fist into her palm. Tell me about Seeking Sheet. That girl could pass a spear through 12 rings from the far side of the battlefield. Kairos helps any foe who approached her march in single file. She made a game of spitting as many shoulders as possible on the same javelin. What happened to them then? We were scouting around Ventry as well during the siege, back when we only suspected the guard of organizing in secret. My sisters and I came upon a group of them. Or Kairos knows, maybe they found us. No one said anything. We drew iron and bronze. So, Ventrian Well is the name of the central plateau to Tears, a mountain-ringed valley of rivers, floodplains, and scattered farmlands, once ruled by House Ventrian on the realm of Apex. At the heart of the valley is the mountain spire, and at the base of the massive stone structure is an old citadel built centuries ago, and largely left unused until recent times. That was when everything went wrong. I was supposed to take point and occupy the guard with a dance of blade work, something disorientating while my sisters picked their marks. I hesitated. I lost my nerve. Instead of rushing the Oathbreakers, I rose with my weapon drawn. My sisters fought on without me, but they were off balance, like whatever I had was catching. They died. I lived. My sisters were relying on me to lead the dance, and I failed them. That's a good question. What was exactly causing that then? Okay, see you then a little bit later, Milan. I hope you have a good dinner later on at the very least. I wouldn't say that that was necessarily true though. This seems a little bit meaner for me than I would like to say, to be honest, but it's understandable, but I wouldn't say caution stayed your hand. I don't think it would have been about caution. Your actions were inexcusable for a fighter of your station. It was, especially because she saw her sisters die as a result. You are absolutely right. If I had witnessed the same in one of my sisters, I might have even killed her for endangering the rest of us. Good thing for me that they didn't get the chance. She suckles, but there's no humor in it. Yeah, you are the result of your sisters dying, that you considered close to you. Hesitation is a rot. It's unbecoming of any chorus member and unheard of in a Scarlet Fury. I would cut it from my body and cauterize the wound if only I knew its source. She grimaces once more and turns inward, contemplating. Any thought on the topic, or are we just here to open old wounds? It would be good if we could figure this out. Any idea why you lost your nerve in battle? What did you see? So on and forth, like what did you feel, what did you see? What could have caused it? I wish I had an explanation. For the first time I lost the dance. The song of murder through silent. Instead there was only rigid, organized control. What does this mean if I would be asking more questions about the sisters? Yeah, nothing really. Okay, back to the Scarlet Chorus then.
What do you need to know?
Who are the Scarlet Chorus leaders? Well, the Voices of Narada is the spider at the center of the web. He acts like the army belongs to him, and he only lends it to Kairos because it suits his purposes, both of which are true. The rest are all offshoots of the Voices, like the Fifth Eye. Once you get down to the rank and file, the Scarlet Chorus organize around a motley bunch of gang bosses who call the shots. What do you want to know? Tell me about the Voices of Narada. He is a madman, but never stopped me from following his orders. Even in a legion as cutthroats as the chorus, you know better than to get on the Voices' bad side. People who cross him, or just people he meets, don't tend to survive the experience. If he ever seems disorganized or lost, it's because he's channeling one of the personalities he's devoured over the years. His mannerism shifts over to someone else, someone who probably long since dead. I wonder if the voices in the scepter was people that he has killed, the personalities he swallowed. I wonder, that could be something. Better to die than become part of the voices. Yeah, we heard voices in our heads, so this would make sense. That they were the voices we heard. Through powers you can't begin to understand. The Voices of Narada seals the minds and knowledge of his victims. You know this happened often during the campaign against the Tears. What he gains from this ability, beyond his apparent madness, is anyone's guess. You know better than to ask him about it directly. What makes him so powerful? He's the Archon of Secrets, and he didn't earn that title lightly. People say that he knows more than every sage in the Tears combined, and that he can think 1,000 steps ahead of the other Archons. It would be putting it lightly to say he's never alone under that disapproving helmet of his. If you make secrets your business, I guess having people constantly whisper in your ear is a good thing. I usually want people to shut up, but to each their own. Tell me about the fifth eye. A walking nightmare, that one. I couldn't begin to guess who lives under that armor and speaks with the reedy voice. But I'll tell you what I know. When your world is built on secrets, it pays to have a few extra eyes. The Voices of Narada has eyes in abundance. Some that he keeps close and others that he sends out in the wilderness. Whoever the fifth eye was before he came into the Archon's service, now he's just a half-mad chaperone speech hole. A bodily function, in other words, an eye. Okay. Wait, Neral's eyes are people. Maybe they used to be people. Whatever they were, they're eyes now. Walks like the whisper that the Voices of Narada takes his servants and cuts out all the extra parts that they don't need. She makes a quick snipping gesture with her fingers. I once heard the voices and the fifth eye in a tent together. The voices kept screaming redundancies, redundancies, every time another coat of blood would spray on the canvas walls. I can't even guess what he was cutting out. How lovely. I would definitely want to be working for him. Definitely. So that everything unnecessary could be just cut out. So how many eyes does the Archon of Secrets have? The number keeps changing, either because it grows or because rumors don't mean shit. 3, 7, 19. Some even say that all of us are eyes and we don't even know it. She shakes her head in a thoughtful disapproval. Maybe you are. It's one of those questions that drives you mad if you allow yourself to think about it for too long. Hey, you could be one of Tunon's eyes, but you never thought of that. Huh? Maybe I am. Back to my other questions about the Carless Chorus leaders then. Tell me about the gang bosses. A boss is anyone who can rally enough support to kill the previous boss. They cling to some command until someone gets wise and stabs them in the back. Dipgap leads the fifth, Filthy Lamps. What a name. Lox leads the Rusted Harp. Sharp used to lead the Bone Boys. What names? Couldn't say where he ended up after they broke his legs. Waterwheel orders around the Hairy Hunters. Holes for Shit leads the Lazy Malkins. Then Scurry Queen, Fingerfoot, and Wild Cash collectively lead the Ladies of Perpetual Strangulation. What names? So weird name. Extra parts that they don't need. What he cut it from 5 Eye. Yeah, extra parts. Yep. All the extra parts that he didn't need. Have you led a gang? I'm forgetting at least a dozen more. I've even let a Kang or two in my day. They never survived very long, so no point in getting attached. But you let a Kang? Don't act so surprised. I can crack a whip better than any of those daisies at the disfavored labor camps. But I was never that interested in the power struggle of those crowns and scabs in the middle. I wanted to stand on the top like the apex predator. Here I am. So when I got tired of a gang, I disbanded and let the other bosses fight over the new recruits. That much amused me at least. Some of my old mates are still alive and hanging around wherever they ended up. Alright, other questions then? Something
What
else.
do you need to know?
Hey, so much. So much questions. What is your thoughts about the disfavored? A warren of self-entitled children so wound up in delusions of honor they're likely to hang themselves by their own high standards. I wish they had stayed in the Northern Empire where they belonged. Then we could get some real work done in the tiers. What do you think of the leader Craven Ashe? I've seen enough of that high-minded braggart to know that he's all duty, nothing but a charismatic, broad-shouldered scarecrow. He calls himself the Archon of War, though by the way he stalls his forces waiting for a better strategy to present itself, you would think he's afraid of battle. You would think that someone more deserving would take Ashe's mantle from him, but the disfavored have this cult of personality built around their great general. In their eyes, he can do no wrong. What about his connection to his troops? Craven Ashe protects. His shoulders keep harping on those words like they mean something. I don't deny that the disfavored can take a few extra lumps on the battlefield, but that only speaks to their thick-headedness. If anything, it's only true because his soldiers place that much trust in it. I've seen the power of suggestion do stranger things to people. Stranger than heal battlefield wounds? I don't think so. Suit yourself, I'm just putting it out there. And I don't see you coming up with any great explanation for a soldier who bounces back from a killing blow. I suppose you have a better idea how to handle the disfavored forces then. Of course I do. First I'd stop babying the troops. Pain is a lesson best learned early. I'd conscript from the locals to bolster the front lines because why waste your elite on the vanguard? Then I'd leave any misplaced ethics back in the Northern Empire. They're not helping Kairos' campaign anyway, so fuck them. Yeah, you would just make them more like the Scarlet Chorus, so then there wouldn't be two forces, there would just be one force from your point of view, and that would just be Scarlet Chorus. But I don't know about the excellent, but yeah, I would want to say this, but not for the purpose that I would. To me, this would be more of a sarcastic thing. Yeah, excellent. You would make them more like Scarlet Chorus, as in. Me being sarcastic about it, but I doubt that's what the game makes this out to be. But that is what it should be to me. So I guess I'll choose this, but it's most likely not going to be sarcastic. Yeah, would that be so wrong? The chorus is accountable for itself in its ways that the disfavored aren't. Our weak die and the strong fight to keep their rank. The disfavored promote their waning bloodline, maybe it was sarcastic then, and disciple any soldier with the audacity to show their teeth, though they'd never admit it, the disfavored need the chorus to show them the way. Who would you see take Ash's place then? I would rather let the disfavored sort it out among themselves. Craven Ashe is this aging figurehead of what should be a constantly changing role. The right shoulder needs to grow a pair and kill the old man, kick his cane out from under him, remind the Legion what strength looks like. The Voices of Narada changes. He's a multifaceted gem, and the Scarlet Chorus is a reflection of that beauty. If someone could rise up and strike down the voices, any of us would follow them in a heartbeat. But, well, he's just a horrible weird figure that is stealing personalities from everyone and just cuts out everything he doesn't like or need in a person. So I don't like the Voices of Narada match myself. Back to the other question. If we must. Do you think that his favorite have a chance to succeed in the tiers? Speaking as one of the exceptions, most of the tiersmen are pushovers. The people of Stalwart seem capable enough, though I have my doubts. You might call them a disfavored's best challenge. Even if they succeed, it might be too late to redeem themselves. The cores have already impacted the conquest more than the disfavored have, or likely ever will. What about their battle strategies? They really got something with that phalanx maneuver, a formation built on holding still, moving forward slowly, and hoping that no one slips in the mud. At best, the disfavored are tired of using the same tactic over and over again. At worst, the enemy knows what to expect out of them. Scarlet Furies are dancers. We hear the music of battle and organize ourselves in the works of killing art. Every fight is as hot and passionate as the last, with no room for stale routine. About something else then. So much to discuss, but hey, I think it's interesting to discuss about a lot of these things nonetheless. What do you think of those who defy Kairos' authority? The TS-man can either fight or submit to Kairos' peace, and only one of those options captures my interest. I suppose I appreciate when they go down fighting. If they did otherwise, I would need to find another excuse to play them. They need to understand whether we unify the tiers under a shared banner or at the bottom of a mass grave makes little difference to you, me, or Kairos. That's an interesting view of the conquest. It's a pragmatic one anyway. The Scarlet Corps caught on to the idea at the beginning of the campaign. If no one objects that we're here to carve a bloody path for gain and amusement, then by all accounts that is our purpose. Besides, unification is such a vague concept that Kairos allows the disfavored and the Corps to interpret it as they will. The Overlord is concerned with results. I'm happy to focus on the details. Especially if that means cutting off a farmer's legs while his family watches their land burn. She smiles at the pleasing memory. That's just going a little bit too far. But well, I guess it's no shame to take pleasure in your work. That's definitely what she likes to do, even though that wouldn't be something I would want to do. And I don't see that as a very good thing, but hey, to each their own, I guess. Scarlets are as they are. No shame in taking pleasure in your work, I guess. No, there isn't, Fatebinder. I suspect that we're going to make something great together. A line of bodies stretching as far as the old walls. It's going to be beautiful. She looks to you with a renewed interest. Did you fight in any notable battles? I spent some time in Azures toward the end of the war. Beastmen ripped my unit apart. We thought they might be working under Kane's orders, but we never found out for sure. Another subject. Pleasure in killing. Why not? Well, I wouldn't think calling her disgusting is wrong, but that ain't really diplomatic. Yeah, but it just feels a little bit wrong of me to go and say, that's just disgusting. Well, she's a warrior, so... yeah, she's a little bit more... not just honorable warrior, but... what do you expect of Scarlet Chorus, though? Scarlet Chorus's warriors... we already know of her past, that she chose this life, so she definitely liked killing. And to see her bloody... trying to figure out the right word, but handiwork. Bloody handiwork. You learned a thing or two about fighting in the Scarlet Chorus. Scared to duel? No, I don't want to do that at least yet. I would probably lose. How is that you picked up your Wall and Sister's weapon skills, though? That's been on my mind for some time, and I still don't have an explanation that fits. I have a few ideas, but... ... Verse frowns in deep thought. I kind of almost feel that maybe she did the same thing as the person, as in the Voices of Narada. It said that he gets more personalities, so maybe if she somehow got the personalities of the other girls inside of herself or into her, to some degree at the very least, even though it doesn't seem that she changes personalities, then surely she would also get their skills. But I don't really know. Bingo. So maybe I got a correct idea with that, or do you mean that it's not diplomatic, or that she loves the handiwork? I didn't notice the bingo earlier, so I'm not exactly sure what it is for. Scarlet Furies share a sort of link. It's how we coordinate our dance in the heat of battle. We don't pass messages or anything, but our emotions and intentions sync up without words. She starts wearing one of her knives. After a moment, she sighs and slaps the blade back into its sheath. Go on. The one thing I always knew was that I felt this connection more keenly than my sisters did. I could pick up nuances that they missed, and I could feel them from further away. When my sisters died, I felt each of them getting yanked out of my brain like someone pulling snails from a garden. But some of their slime residue was still there. Does that make sense? Yeah, kinda. Now that's a good question. I don't think she's very empathic, would be liking this option as much, but I think I would rather go with that than just exploit the skills. I would take comfort in that your sisters live on in you, to some degree at the very least. Yeah. Your optimism is cute, Fatebinder, if singularly useless. It won't bring my sisters back, and it doesn't fix this thing in my head that I don't understand. No matter how you paint it, some part of my sisters broke off in me when they died, and now I'm left to deal with it. Just another day in the tears, right? I have thoughts about your compatibilities. Do you know?
Call me intrigued. You already know that I memorized the moves of my Scarlet Fury sisters. If it seems like a total mystery to me, I don't know how you could have arrived at any conclusions, but I'm open to ideas.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking to the Voices of Narada. This would be one way of saying that, but I could just go straight up. Your talent reminds me of the Voices of Narada.
I hope I didn't hear you say that, Fatebinder, because the implication is more than either of us is prepared to handle. The Voices of Narada is a monster. We both know that Tyrannus has never seen a creature more despicable than him. Never mind that he's kind of my boss.
At least you also dislike him. Through powers you can begin to understand, yeah. Think about it. He absorbs the minds of his victims.
Well, I don't want to fucking think about it. Didn't you consider for a second that the thought had occurred to me already?
And you don't like it, but maybe you have to accept it if that happens to be the case.
I've traveled with the chorus for years. I've seen what the voices can do, and it scares me, all right? The idea that everything I am could be reduced to that. If I had that kind of power, if I could become like him, I don't know how I could live with myself. I'd rather drown myself in a camp latrine.
You don't need to become like him, just be selective. Don't just take everything.
I'm sure he had the same idea when he got started. But you know what they say about power? It's usually wielded by assholes.
True enough.
My sisters died. You should have seen us. We were amazing together. I didn't mean to take away what made them special, but I did it all the same. And let me tell you, it felt terrible.
Welcome back, Milan. But yeah, I can understand her. I wouldn't want to be like Voices of Narada, but it definitely seems like she would have same sort of ability. But maybe that's also why she's having a more special place at the moment. I don't know if the Voices of Narada knows about this, but he might.
If I lived a century, I might never figure out how to make that happen again. And more importantly, I don't want to.
I can understand you wouldn't want to, but doesn't mean that it might not happen again. Sure, though we haven't done much, but I wonder what there's going to be in the future.
What did you have in mind?
What do you think of our present circumstances? Well, there's an edict hanging over our heads. As far as I'm concerned, the incompetence of the disfavored got us into this mess, and it will take the fury of the Scarlet Chorus to get us out of it. In other words, nothing ever changes. Well, I don't think just like that. Yay! She got a reputation ability. Dead from above. Once per rest, launch first into the air, allowing him to unleash a series of well-aimed arrows into the target from above. Each of these arrows strikes true and has armor penetration. That's cool. But yeah, she's getting closer to this too. Via orderly and honorable ways. You need a repetition change of major strength to unlock this tire. Okay. But yeah, that's cool enough nonetheless, as it is. Let me just make one save into this spot. I don't know how the game exactly will work with this. Like, how quickly does the time go? Do I have time to talk with everyone? How quickly should I be acting and stuff like that? I do not have any idea. You pick up the typical clamor of a military camp, the clang of sparring steel, the low rumble of stomping feet, and hushed murmurs emanating behind the closed tents. I guess we could rest in here if we wanted to, but I don't see a specific need at the moment. Kira with plenty people in head, changing voices and all. No, that's not me. I wanna just be me. Loyalty and fear both have abilities, and you can have both all together. Yep. I've seen that, even though loyalty seems better for me, but it is interesting that both of them have actually a good ability associated with them. I am Lucia. This is Marcus. The disfavored soldier points to the armored man next to her. And you must be the Fate Binder. Yes, I'm the Fate Binder. Deputy of Law. From under her helmet you hear an audible scoff. We've been assigned to babies. Assigned to your hospitality, Marcus quickly interjects. As in babysitting me would have been the words that Lucia would have used. Marcus quickly interjects. While you remain in disfavored grounds, if you should need a place to rest, we can make the necessary preparations. What can we do for you? Marcus, tell me about yourself. Not sure there's much to tell you. I trained at 4 Resolution. This is my first campaign, and I'm proud to be with the Legion. I was wounded at the Gates of Judgment by Craven Ash's protection mended me good. I owe my life to him. Gates of Judgment. Are you bragging that you let your guard down and took a spear to the god? You really shouldn't boast about a filthy yes-man besting you in battle. Lucia rolls her eyes. You're bitter that Lord Ashe never seemed to notice you. In all seriousness, I would take that spear again if it brought honor to the disfavored. Kairos knows we could use it. We are an elite fighters of the Northern Army, but somehow we still lack the Overlord's confidence. He shakes his head and sighs. Well, Lucia, what about you? Tell me about yourself. I do this. She unenthusiastically lifts up her heavy shield. And I do this. She mockingly stabs at the air with her spear. Lucia shrugs. Playing host is not my strong suit. So, use a shield and use a spear. And you're a bad host. Good to know. Thanks. No, my sarcasm, I've seen the Legion through my share of the campaign. After so much bloodshed, our pretenses of honor can wear me down. Pretenses? I guess you might need to change then to somewhere else than just being the dishonored if you think like that. She turns a cautious eye on your way. The North is my home, and I consider each and every one of the ironclad bastards in this camp to be family. You won't find another army where each member of the phalanx is as beloved and cherished as the next. You seem handy with a weapon, Lucia. I'm handy in lots of ways, believe me, she winks. Weapons, though, eh? You could say I know what I'm doing. Lucia, are you flirting with Tunon's Fatebinder? How could she? Relax, Marcus. There are plenty of camp slaves if I ever need to scratch an itch. Although, through the visor of her helm, you notice Lucia's eyes roving up and down your body. If you ever need someone to warm your petrol, let me know. I sleep in my armor. Hope you don't mind. I don't think armor would be warm, though. So, I don't know about that. Besides, I would think that I'm more interested in men anyways, but anyways, armor. Cold. Not warm. Unless you go and warm it in a fire first or something, but otherwise it's cold. It's not warm. How have your skills fared in the battle against the Oathbreakers, Marcus? Every battle is a reminder of the Legion's superiority. The Oathbreakers have plenty of heart, but nothing to beat down ocean values and craven ashes sloth. If you ever want to enjoy the feeling, I can spare you the time of day to cross iron. Okay. What's it like serving with this favorite? In spite of our name, the Legion commands more honor than any military on the face of Terratus. Unlike the Chorus, there's tradition, discipline, teamwork, and unity of purpose. Marcus looks out across the camp. There aren't many of us, but it's better that way. We're a tightly knit family bound together by trust and glory. Accurate enough, Lucia shrugs. After seeing the disunity and pickering of the younger realm defenders, I feel lucky to be in the most agreeable legion of Kairos' host, even if we're not always the most efficient. If the Legion boasts so much honor, why are they disfavored? That is a good question. Why the name disfavored? The story is a common knowledge, but we don't discuss it here out of, well, it's not considered polite. It has to do with Graven Ash and the rise of Kairos' empire. I'm sure you can put some of the pieces together. Ashe and Kairos weren't always the best of turns, but all of that has changed. By rights, we should have a name worthy of our wounded reputation by now, but she shrugs. Maybe someday, after my children's children have inherited my armor, we'll have a better title to call our own. Maybe. Farewell to you. I would assume that the training that these two would be able to give me wouldn't be the type of training I would necessarily want. Let me loot your stuff. Water.
I got it.
A meager portion of game. Yeah, that's something I did check already before. I wonder if there's anything else I could talk with the Peter of Quips. No, doesn't really seem like. I wonder why he's called Peter Quip then. What did he exactly do to become so bitter? What do you mean you haven't heard from the Commander Iron Corps? It's been a full span since we sent any troops. Last we heard, Maserati said to keep an eye on Northern Pass that we don't think I'm through there. For the mercy of Kairos, we don't have the soldiers to send hunting through the trees of our own damn Earthshakers. Sevius. I wonder, can I loot this stuff too then? Seems like it. Sure. Fine, it just feels wrong, but sure, I'll take it nonetheless. Subterfuge. Sigil. Strength. Yay! I can have a new accent. I always loot into this stash though. Learn. What does this do? That provides an increase to spell strength, increasing the potency of most existing effects. Alright. It does more damage, yep. Quite a bit more damage though. What did I even do for this guy thing? I did the range, as in this one, but I couldn't do that with that at the same time. Nor that. What about this one? More intensity, and then range and duration. I can have all of those, so that's cool. Then I can at least replace that. Can I also do more for this then? I definitely had this duration, I had the range. And I can still have this too. Okay, cool. Alright, so then it has all that I possibly could have at this point. So it has overall more. Yeah. Yeah, 2.5 instead of just 2. Then I have the electric jolt. For that, what did I do for it? Duration, I know that. Can I then do this? No. I guess I'll try to give the duration, or have the duration there for the moment at least. You can loot everything. Yeah, I can look at training too and see what exactly is the training I could be taking. It's the lore training probably that I would prefer. But not with that guy at least. So, Sevius. Fatebinder Kide, am I right? I'm Sevius, Commander and 3rd generation. Disfavored. Specifically, I'm Sevius the Younger. Some walls can't keep track. The rank says Commander, but lately I'm just organizing patrols and trying to stay out of the way. You should talk to Iron Marshal if you're something official that needs discussing. What is it you need? I overheard you asking the Earthshakers where their reinforcements have gone. Is there a problem? I'm afraid so. Radix, the head of the Earthshakers, was supposed to arrive with a group of his most competent spell slingers to help break the stalemate. I don't know what's holding up their arrival, and that worries me. If you were at all inclined to lend a hand, we could use some arcane support on our side. Have you checked any caches of confiscated lore? If only our work was that easy. At the Archons of War's behest, we make a bonfire of any illicit tomes or scrolls we might confiscate. At least those that don't slip through our fingers from time to time. The likelihood of finding our missing mages nestled among a stack of parchment is slim. Alright, well. I could lend a hand. Okay, Northern Clearing. Could you? I knew that Tunon's agent wouldn't fail us in a time of need. I'll mark the last known site of our Earthshaker reinforcements on your map. Good hunting, Fatebinder. Why do you think the siege has delayed for so long? It should have been over real quick and simple. The first cohort arrived in the valley and went right for the kill. But that was before we knew the Vendrian Guard had sages and that water witch on their side. A bigger problem is the Scarlet Chorus. They eagerly conscript the Vendrian Guard, but I have no proof of this, but it seems they do very little to keep a watchful eye on these drafted tiersmen. They are often sent out on patrol, and we suspect they use the opportunity to escape back to the Vendrian Guard. Every Chorus conscript has a choice, life under Kairos or death under the army's boots. By all means, feel free to cut down those who choose the latter. We won't be offended. Just so we don't mistake each other, I know what I am saying carries an implication of treachery. I'm not making a formal accusations before Tunon's agent. I'm just voicing my cut opinion on the matter. The two armies haven't worked well together in years. Why do you think that is? Come on, Pinder. Seems like asking why peace stink. The Disfavored are only too eager to deliver Kairos' peace to the Tears, while the Scarlet of Chorus brings only mayhem in their wake. You can tell me the Voices of Narada has a plan, and I'll take your word for it. But the Chorus sure seems to blunder around, never moving with purpose as we do. I wonder if we've been fighting the same war, soldier. I've seen Ashe yank his precious soldiers away from more battles than he's won. If you want to call that progress, be my guest. Unless we find a way to work as one, I fear that the Scarlet Corps will step in front of Craven Ashe's strategies at their return. As far as I'm concerned, it seems like the Voices of Narada is here to amuse himself, while the rest of us here to do our job. Tell me about yourself, Zeus. Not much to tell. My father was Zeus the Older, his father was Zeus the First of his name, the Drillmaster of Ashe's first Iron God, back when they were the Bronze God. I was born into the Legion, and with any hope I'll die in the Legion. The rest of you will hopefully hear about when the storytellers immortalize me. He was in the Bronze Guard, so your family must have been with Ashe since before he was with Kairos. Yay. Hey, you know your history, Zeus notes with gusto. The blood goes back that far, not the memories, as I only ever knew my father. My grandfather was just a legend, one of the Ashe's best warriors back before the disfavored were reforged in iron. He shrugs. I'm proud of my heritage, but I try not to brag. There are folks who love the Legion every bit as much as I do, but they lack the same pedigree. Well, you should be proud of your pedigree nonetheless. Thanks, but I try not to think about it too fondly. If anything, every time I screw something up, I wish I wasn't dragging the family name through mud along with me. Yeah, I guess that's okay. We got a quest. Quest. Alrighty. Wanna go there. I do have
I'll
to.
be your shadow.
I accidentally pressing the wrong button again. But yeah, I have to see what things I want to do in which order. I'm not certain. The table is lined with various medicinal herbs. It would appear that they have been carefully rationed. Carefully skinned game hang from this branch. They appear sickly and malnourished. More loot. I don't seem to be able to go more into there. That's the end of this map, sadly. And I didn't think that there was anything there. No, I don't seem to be able to go there. So then there's all of this area over here that we can check at least. Iron Marshal, Erenius. I guess I can ask that question nonetheless. Hey, and good evening to you. Tajunta hyvää iltaa. Welcome to stream for you. Sneak mode increases hidden objects detection chance. So there is that sort of a use for sneaking around and about. But I was wondering about the fact, like, how much does it matter which things do we do first? Does it matter if we accept more quests at the same time? Or should I try to concentrate in going and doing the certain quests first? I do think that at least going and getting the Earthshakers to our side would be a pretty good idea to go and do. But, just kind of wondering, is it something I should be thinking of otherwise doing? Yeah, I think that probably it's okay to accept more quests. Don't just cuddle the impact. Push back with your shield. Take the momentum. Iron Marshal Erenius, field commander of the disfavored, pounds her fist in the air as she calls out the warriors on the training field. I set eyes on your opponent waistline. If you spend more than a glance checking his woodwork, you've lost. The disfavored officer turns to you, adjusting her pale golden surcoat as she clears her throat. Need to stay on top of the troops, or their skills will rust. It's for their own good, even if they don't believe it. Judging from her uniform, this is the Iron Marshal Erenius, first among equals in the Iron Guard, Craven Ashe's inner circle of trusted followers. Charged with being the duties of leadership, logistics, and training, there is rarely a quiet day for the second in the command of the disfavored legion. How are your warriors reacting to the edict? Kairos' ultimatum has the camp on edge, some with dread, but most are rife with anticipation. She points to the men sparring in the field. We have a lot of brothers and sisters to avenge, and the warriors are eager to take out some aggression. I, for one, choose to see the edict as a blessing, for it forces the generals to act, and we are long overdue. It was mentioned you're short on warriors and need help. What's the situation? I have brigades and Machinamon along Placid, Echo Call, and Little Tooth crossings. The Vendrian Guard may be able to hold one bridge, but they cannot hold against a concerted, three-pronged attack. I have no right to give you orders, but, averts Walter, a short cough breaking her flow. But we all die to Kairos' edict should we fail, so I'm not about to let my pride blind me to have value, to the value of a good help. This is the second major attack on the river, correct? What happened last time? Defeat in detail. We caught Bloody Pad up to the river, but at that point, everyone who charged ahead was lost. We had no course backup, it was just a few disfavored squads. I can't tell you exactly how they were defeated, but we lost a full assault team. She shakes her head, letting out a long, pained sigh. We found bodies washing up in the river for days. It's not often the Tearsmen put up a good fight. It certainly made us reevaluate the number we'll need to take this valley. Housewarming party. Well, I hope you had fun there, Tayonda, with the house farming party. Midsummer housewarming party indeed. Hyvää juhannusta. Well, yeah, there isn't much coronavirus at the very least in here in Finland. Almost pretty much none at all. There's still, of course, good to be precautions and be cautious, but there is hardly any, nonetheless. Really? Are you sure our scouts didn't give you all sorts of details about the enemy and you just chose to disregard our warnings? We can pass our blame after the war. Only the Oathbreakers matter now. Quite right. Getting our emotions into the mix won't hasten this campaign. What's the value of taking the crossing? We can't just march from here to the citadel with the Vendrian Guard manning the riverbanks. Forwarding troops and supplies through ever the narrowest point is the river makes us vulnerable to attack, especially since our armor wasn't built for swimming. She points north towards the mountain spire looming on the horizon. If we can take the river, we have a clear march to the citadel, and Ascension Hall will be ours in no time. I will assist, of course. Then our plan just might work. The other marshal lifts her gauntlet close to her face, shifting her eyes from you to the metal articulations. We are loath to work with those who do not share our training and our values, but we know that Junon, the adjudicator, selects only the most capable minds for his court, and I trust you will honor us all on the battlefield. Antio will be leading the charge at Echo Call Crossing. Assisting you will be Parik of the Stone Shield. She points to the heavily armored soldier standing sentry at the edge of the training field. Before you ask, no, the watch-bound went sloshed and Dappleseed, when they fitted his armor. He survived the full force of the edict of storms, and this armor doesn't exactly come off. Tactically, it's quite brilliant, but otherwise, it's something of a curse. Tapping her helmet twice, Erianos signals to the Halgen presence. Parik, come meet the Fatebinder. No, the Forge-bound went lost. Yeah, Mace switch, but he is in that. Okay, he survived the full force of Edict of Storms. Kairos' most powerful magic is that of an edict, yes. And that happened to be an Edict of Storms. Yes, hyvää juhannusta indeed. As in Happy Midsummer Celebration, translated basically. The soldier that steps up to you better resembles an amalgamation of rusted blades and mishmashed pieces of armor fused into a vaguely human shape. He reeks of sweat, feces, and whatever oil treatment keeps him flexible.
Fatebinder. The Iron Marshal has tasked me with keeping you alive, and I have no intention of disappointing her. That should be enough assurance for anyone.
An honor.
Likewise, good Binder.
The soldier heaves a heavy iron arm into a salute. Here he is in this armor. That's quite of an armor, though. His full body clanging as he wraps his gauntlet against the twisted sheets of metal that form his breastplate.
Barrick, is that you under there? I had no idea you were in Vendrian's well. Fatebinder, do you know this walking anchor?
Probably not. Just a minute, you two know each other's?
No. Oh, that is to say, yes. I'm already as familiar with this ironclad halfwit as I care to be.
She regards Barrick with a mixed look.
We don't have time to trade jabs today, Verse. After the siege, you can throw as many tantrums as you please. I suggest that we remain focused on the mission.
No offense to the mission, but seeing you looking like a garbage heap and reeking of a mass grave is more amusing by far. Did you forget how to don your armor, or did Graven Ash leave you out in the rain?
Oh my. I'm assuming that he can accompany us as well. Barrick sighs, a frustrated growl shaking his iron enclosure of soot. Well, I know him as well as I knew anyone during the conquest.
That can change. When the Tears are fully under our command, I'll take you to whatever passes for a watering hole in this forsaken country. We'll drink the local swill to honor the fallen.
Sure, Barrick.
Forget the fallen. I know a great brothel in Levian's Crossing where we can watch something rise, then fall, then rise again.
Okay. That sounds weird, but Levian's Crossing was the place that I was a governor in, so I know that. I might have seen that brothel then, but something rise, then fall, and then rise again. Sure. She's so kind. She's very kind. Absolutely kind. The Fatebinder will be joining us for the push across the river. I figured an extra hand might help. No, this is erroneous. The Fatebinder will be joining us for the push across the river. I figured an extra hand might help. And more importantly, if my worries come true and the chorus tries to impede the mission, we will have an observer from the court on our side.
Better to work with the Honorable Binder than some chorus children.
He nods to you, his armor creaking as he bends his neck. I ask that Barrick accompany you there to appreciate the cooperation between his company and the Scarlet Chorus. Barrick, you've been without a cohort since the last Battle of Stalwart. It's time we gave you a task more worthy than hauling wagons and leading training drills. She plants her hands on her hips and speaks in clipped, official terms. Ashe has assigned you to the Fatebinder's service. You're to assume this task is ongoing until we find a more permanent spot for you, which could very well mean the swiftly approaching end of this war. Or when the Fatebinder dismisses you. Is that understood? I suppose I could be in a worse company than that of a renowned mage slayer. I have seen how this one treats any upstarts who fail to recognize the benefits of Kyros's peace, though I would much rather attend to my duties here. That is, unless you're serious about my change of assignment, Iron Marshal. So this was the Congress decision. This was about the Pyromancer, sure. Far more dangerous than the average deersman. With the two armies unable to agree on the strategy, you used your authority as reigning Fatebinder to execute the disfavored plan. Use the mage's predictable lust for a fight and use overwhelming force to crush them. Yep, so that's the decision he's referring to. Mage Slayer. I'm a Mage Slayer and I'm myself a mage. That's an order, Barrick. She shakes her head and sighs, returning her focus on to you. He can be as stubborn as pulling a spire out of the earth, but he's a good soldier. I hope you don't mind the company. I do mind. I'm honored to have a member of the Iron Legion at my side. Excellent. I look forward to your success in the field. Yay, we have 3 people with us. Let's see. Did I also have like a level up for you? No, not exactly, but I do have a level up for you. But I guess you were already, so to speak, on level 2 before? Not 100% certain, but I definitely do not have a level up for you. Yeah, you're almost level 3 actually. You're starting at level 2, I'm slightly above level 2, and then you are already almost level 3 verse. Verse is a lot ahead. You're pretty much having pretty, like, it's cool looking still, this armor, just completely surrounding him. I would think a lot of these things we could be saying as skills that he doesn't need to be caning something into. Magic staff, of course not. Dual wield, not. Probably he won't be using any bows or unarmed combat either. So, one-handed or two-handed athletics, dodge and parry, specifically are his things. What do I want? No point on giving wits. Resolve, maybe. But accuracy would be nice. Finesse. That gives bows, unarmed combat, but that doesn't actually give any of the one-handed weapons or two-handed weapons. It does give some athletics, but I'm not certain then. That just gives other stuff. This at least would be, he's definitely one main skill. It increases two-handed weapons too. Maybe. Let's see about this stuff then. You're a Punisher. In here I can choose one more, okay. Or I can choose to have Sentinel as well. So Punisher is striking iron. Strike a single enemy dealing significantly increased damage if the target is engaged in a barrack. Okay. This would be issue a mocking invitation, challenging enemies to attack barrack. That seems logical if he would be more of a tank for us. Definitely. That's true. The smell must be pretty horrible doing everything inside the armor. Yeah. Very excellent companion to travel with, of course, obviously. Maybe he doesn't need to do anything. Fierce demeanor. Barrack becomes an intimidating force on the battlefield. Enemies nearby barrack have their resolve reduced. Then gain a chance to attack enemies as they engage you. That sounds good too. Increase one-handed and two-handed melee weapon damage. I'm tempted to take Sentinel too, but I kind of want to try this. Gain a chance to attack enemies as they engage you. That sounds cool. Just a passive ability like that. Sure. Then here, I guess I'll take one into here. I'm not certain if it's the best, but it seems at least logical nonetheless. He does look quite something in this armor. These are of course all locked. I can't change his armor. Oh dear. Why can't I change his armor? I wonder why. He's not locked in it or anything. Stone shield armor, but yeah, that's not like he can wear that or anything of the like. What about this then? Battle-worn tunic accessory. But +1 vitality. I guess you can have that. That seems sensible enough for you to have. But yeah, I didn't have anything else here. No. No, I did not. You have nothing, of course, in there. And then I have this one for a little bit of a quickness. Quickness bangles. Okay, new companion. We could talk with him too, but I kind of would like to go and do things first before we would do that. I wonder why he has orange like that. But yeah, we could talk with him too, but let me at least try to be checking all of this area through first, nonetheless. We already talked so much with her, after all. Nobleman's tunic. I know I should kind of be changing my own armor too, but it just feels like this was my outfit. Isotanis. Isotanis curses the air as a plate of tin iron breaks in half beneath his hammer. Repairing weapons with scrap isn't exactly why I got into this craft, but our supplies are spent. He wipes the sweat from his brow and gets a better look at you. Why not forge bronze? Bronze will do in a pinch, don't get me wrong, it can take a beating and get bent back into shape, unlike this stubborn iron we have here. He glances at the pile of his work with dread, and we always have plenty of tin and copper lying around, so supplies aren't the problem. It's a rare smith who can churn out military-grade bronze consistently. More often than not, it comes out soft. Look around camp. We're carving the Legion head to toe in iron because it's cheaper and easier to produce for the masses. Couldn't do that with bronze. He looks Barik up and down. Of course, some of us do go overboard from time to time. They called this favor the Iron Legion for a reason. Strategy and skill may be our backbone, but our claws are made of iron, the good stuff that comes from the smiths in the Legion's crossing. You mentioned an iron shortage, eh? I'm afraid so. The last shipment sent down the Matani went missing near Echo Call crossing, and I'm afraid we won't be seen any more now that the valley is sealed. Warsbound iron is Tunon's responsibility. Why is this the first I'm hearing of it? Yeah, that they would be getting the iron into here. Keep your voice down. He seems very much begging now. Isotanis flinches and lowers his own voice. Craven Asher doesn't want to cause a panic or pass any information to the Ventrian guard. Best case scenario, the iron tumbled off a boat and is rusting on a riverbed. Worst case, it ends up in the enemy hands. Well, if I've been instructed to aid in an operation in Echo Call, I'll keep an eye out for your shipment. I appreciate that, as does the great general. More than you might guess. Maybe he isn't quick to offer his thanks to outsiders, but I know he'll be grateful for your help. It would be a boon to the war effort if our iron was recovered, You can trust me to handle this. I knew that Tunon wouldn't have dispatched you without good reason. The court isn't exactly known for gambling when the stakes are high. He glances to a crate beside him and points to a small set of notches on the wood. You see that? That is how we tell apart our iron shipment from the rest. Inconspicuous to people. Don't go snooping around. You'll want to keep an eye out for this. Good hunting. Notches on the wood. Okay. Need something else? Are you familiar with the forge-bound art? Not in the least. The forge-bound are artists who work in metal rather than paint. They conjure flames that burn hot enough to melt the metal from rocks. Me, I swing a hammer and hope the ashes protects extends to my thumb whenever I miss. Well, just protecting your thumb as well. Like, let's see your wares. Then all quality levels. I guess there's nothing else. Yeah. Reputation. Stand together, stand tall. I got some stuff. Earthshaker stuff. More DPS for me. As sauce. But, don't know about that. I could sell some stuff. But I don't know exactly what I would want to sell. It's a problem, like I'm not sure what things I should be considering selling and what things I shouldn't consider selling. I don't quite know. Can I spot anything new? Okay, that's an ongoing thing now, all the time. What did I gain exactly from there, anyways? Barik will have his own things, of course. Yeah, that's pretty decent overall. Lydian's Crossing is gaining some favor with them. Ventrian's Guard, this favored is then we got this passive pulse rate, allied area effect, +1 resolve. All party members near you receive a bonus resolve. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. No frat there at all. It's kind of silly. This is then a little bit of favor and a little bit of frat. Craven Ashe is pretty far in this. The Voices of Narada then is a little bit of both in the end. Little bit of both.
On the lookout.
I don't see much else in here. Nope, service. I can loot that. That's something I can do. As weird as it is to go and just loot everything about and around. And I can look into this. Fresh straw in the corner of this prison cell absorbs much of the stench. Cool. Cool enough. And this just shows this world map, not exactly anything else. Okay, I guess that's pretty much everything right now that I have to do in here. I could sell more, but I don't really know what I would want to be selling. Let's check into this direction just in case still, though. Then I have to just deciding where to go. They have deers and boars. Strange. There's a little bit of land in here too, but I doubt there's anything, but there's at least a... I guess someone is buried in here. A humble grave lies before you. A battered sword has been used as a marker. The initial...
A modest grave for the Archon's son, Brennix. We don't bother with funeral rites in the chorus. No point in thanking conscripts for their duty.
Be deeply ingrained into the iron, but yeah, this is his son then. I did hear that he died after all. That is quite sad. Well, now then, would need to be deciding where would we want to be heading first. Plenty of places we could be deciding to go in. That's really far, actually, that northern clearing. Give way to a rocky turn as one approaches the eastern mountain. This favored earthshakers reportedly traveled to this location and may still be present. This is of course then for the Scarlet Furies camp. I guess it would still make the most sense to go there first and check what sort of quest they would have for us. And after that, it seems like this would be more successful, however, if we had these guys with us. So to me it makes sense to go here before, but it does take 12 hours to get all the way there. So yeah, like I said, that I think the campsite is more logical to go in first, but I probably would want to go to the northern clearing before Echo Calls Crossing on the other hand, because yeah, this seems like if we had them, this would be more successful of a mission. I at least hope I didn't miss anything in this favorite camp, but yes, Scarlet Furies camp seems the most logical option first. The Scarlet Furies have taken residence within the decayed walls of the old fortress. It is currently the base of operation for the Voices of Narada's campaign in the valley. Yes. The path is blocked by a small group of Ventrian guard. You can go no further until you deal with them. Sure, I gotta deal with them then. Not much else to do than to deal with those blocking our path. Hi.
That's far enough, Fatebinder.
A woman's voice booms from atop a nearby outcropping. Flashes of aquamarine body paint peek out from under her loose-fitting traveler's garb, and her outfit is festooned in braids and knots of sailor's line. Flanked on either side by warriors dressed in Ventrian's guard regalia, the woman leans on an elaborate bladed staff pulsing with arcane energy. A swath of blue fabric rests straight over her arm. The blue body pigment, bladed staff, and complex braided attire are the traditional trappings of School of Tides. According to the Faintbinder's Regulus, the majority of the school fled before the coming of Kairos. The remainder were last seen during the first campaign of Vengeance Well. The School of Tides traditionally studies the magic of water and crave light, the art of directing the moon's arcane light into baleful searing energy. Interesting. Then blue fabric. The blue flag is a symbol of diplomacy and truce, recognized across most of the known world. And it is a custom the Tearsmen hold dear. To harm another person under the auspices of a blue flag is a grave offense. In both the Tears and Kairos' empire, the customary punishment is death. So, if they are under a blue flag, then they come to talk.
In accordance with ancient customs north and south, I offer and request a delay of blade. There are matters we must discuss without fear of reprisal.
The woman bows deeply, lowering her head in a practical display of etiquette. The warriors by her side remain in ready stance, their nerves clearly on edge. In accordance with ancient customs, north and south, I abide by this truce.
As is our custom, we are ready to kill to defend our lands, but we kill only in fair battle. We don't slay our prisoners. We know this isn't Kairos' way, but we must have hope. A few of my kin have gone missing, and though they may have perished, I have to inquire on the off chance they still live. If Captain Tarkus Deimos still lives, we would negotiate for his release.
I think this is the guy that we killed. One of the leaders of the attack on Edgelin Ruins, Tarkus Deimos, was subdued during the battle in accordance with the disfavored you ordered Deimos executed. Yep. Unfortunately, he is not alive. That would be a lie. I won't be going and doing lies. I won't be lying. Tarkus Deimos is dead.
I see. That is as I feared, but thank you for telling me all the same. I prefer closure to wishful thinking. If I may make one more inquiry, what of Palox Tyrell? Did he survive?
Though you rarely have the luxury of matching names to the countless Tearsmen you've encountered, you are reasonably certain she is asking about the Vengeance God, a warrior that took Drastus Hodge's Edgelin Ruin. He did not survive the encounter, yeah. He did definitely not survive. Palox Tyrell is dead, just as well. She nods slowly, saying nothing for a long moment.
My apologies, Fatebinder. I had a terrible feeling this errand was in vain from the start. I had no expectations that our friends could be saved, as I'm sure the time for swapping prisoners is long gone. But at least I know of what became of them. That'll have to be enough.
I have some questions for you if you would listen. I would do this, but I would have some questions.
We shouldn't be socializing with Oathbreakers.
I will entertain them as best I can. After all, understanding is the only hope we have. What is it you wish to know?
Why do you resist, Kairos? What are you trying to save?
I grew up without my knee bent to Kairos, and if I'm going to bow to someone, let it be another Tearsman. We've ruled ourselves just fine for centuries, so we'll give our lives so that our sons and daughters might rule themselves.
Though the younger realms, I could read about that. Yeah, no fights yet, only just talk. It's been fun for me at least. I like this game, but yeah, lots of talking today. Lots and lots of talking. It just takes a long time. But yeah, Younger Realms, the realms of Azure, Apex, Stalwart, and Haven are collectively known as the Younger Realms, and together they represent the major political factions of the tiers. For centuries, the Younger Realms have battled among themselves for control of the tiers, with every realm having been at war with each other at some point in memorable history. This lack of unified resistance allowed Kairos' armies to swiftly conquer the tiers. This is true. They had the situation where the females are more so free in here. Only your daughters are really free in the tiers. Why fight against Kairos' equality?
There's freedom, then there's trusting idiots with power. Give a man 1,000,000 marauders, he'll lose sleep worrying over his neighbor's 1,000. I prefer my realms ruled by the braver sex. For centuries we've left the lands to the women, and the seas to the men. And we did plenty fine until Kairos came around.
But a mage like you would not be the subject of such superstition and fear under Kairos' reign.
I doubt life is any better sworn to some mad archon. I'd rather stand with my fellow tiersmen. Or, I suppose, stand immediately behind them in the event of an attack.
At that remark, the soldiers flanking her exchange shocking looks. Ebb turns her focus to her compatriots.
Yeah, you heard me. Way things were years back, you'd all be calling me a water witch and conspiring to sell me out to the nearest sage. Just because I'm helping you stop Kairos doesn't mean I've forgotten the hospitality of ages past.
So it's not like you have the best situation there either. One of the longest surviving schools of magic in the tiers, the School of Ink and Quill is a venerable institution devoted to the acquisition and preservation of knowledge, but she didn't belong into this one. Yep.
And people wonder why the tiersmen could never unite in time to fight back. It's refreshing to see that some things never change.
The Younger Realms were beset with constant battle. You prefer that to the Kairos' order.
You make conflict sound like a bad thing. Yes, the Younger Realms saw frequent battles, but it was never this wholesale slaughter like we've seen of late. No tiersman ever cast an edict on the soil, or forced prisoners to kill each other, or butchered beastmen tribes.
What makes you think you have a chance?
Oh, we don't. Those who believed Kairos could be stopped all died years ago, in the first wave of fighting. It's not about the hope of victory. It's about the hope of inspiring others. It is very likely we will fall here in Vendrian's Well. But perhaps others will arise elsewhere.
Something else then. She nods, silently awaiting your follow-up. Did you kill any of the disfavored prisoners with magic? This is a very important question after all, I'd say. Yeah, better to talk, yes. Why not? Why talk when you could, yeah?
That's some sort of trick question? No, we don't kill prisoners, magic or otherwise.
Were there prisoner swaps in the past is also an interesting question. How did you and your friends overthrow the garrison?
I would joke that the Voices of Narada left the gate unlatched, but dozens of warriors lost their lives taking the citadel. There was no secret to it. We simply attacked with speed and certainty at a time when the Archons were elsewhere in the tiers. The Scarlet Chorus had a rout, and what few disfavored soldiers were present made an impressive showing. But they were surrounded and overwhelmed once the chorus fled.
I can understand there was a battle, they took it over, but still, if they didn't kill the disfavored prisoners with magic after they had been captured alive, then something weird is still going on. Who's in charge of this insurrection?
Listen to you, thinking just like the Overlord wants you to think. There always has to be a person in charge or things don't make sense. Well, we don't answer to anyone. We are each of us sons and daughters of the tiers, and take this task upon ourselves freely. But Captain Tarkus Ari, former Falksman of Queen Vendrian Alanta, is the voice we trust when we seek unanimity.
Captain Tarkus Ari, okay. I assume Tarkisari and Tarkis Demos are relations.
Yes. Deimos was Ari's brother. We were certain he was dead, but the captain takes family seriously. So I volunteered to find some answers. And now here we are.
Well, that didn't go the best, unfortunately. Were there prisoner swaps in the past?
That is our way, Binder. Here in the south, only thugs and bandits kill prisoners. The younger realms may be guilty of constant fighting, but we never slay each other when the battle's long over. We're not about to change that now. As a rule, Kairos' forces haven't been keen on swapping prisoners. But I know our disfavored prisoners aren't prisoners anymore. I just assumed they were swapped for some of our own.
Yeah. Well, that's not the case. Our disfavored prisoners aren't prisoners anymore. I just assumed they were swapped for some of our own. No, they were killed elsewhere. I would love to be able to tell that they have been killed, because that's how it is. They are dead at this point. He lost his son and so on and forth. They died. In which hands? Now that is the great question. What exactly happened to them? That is a great question. I wish I could be saying more about that. That's all.
Fair enough. But now a question for you.
Okay.
The edict. I can feel its magic coursing through the air. Everyone can. But those of us enlightened to the currents of magic feel it most. The wording of the edict. What was it?
Well, I will tell her the truth. I've told before as well, even if she is an enemy. Kairos' forces must take Ascension Hall by the Day of Swords, or all in the valley will perish.
In the name of the vaunted North, the will of Kairos should be delivered with blade and hammer, not to the ears of oathbreakers and compromisers.
I know Barry couldn't like that, but...
Curious. You did say all in the valley. So the edict will affect Kairos' forces? This is most unexpected.
Her eyes widen at your words. Correct.
That is most troubling. So either the soldiers come to destroy and kill us, or the edict does the work. I suppose we should be so honored the Overlord is taking no chances on us.
Maybe.
I've another question for you, if you will entertain it.
Are we really standing here and chatting with Oathbreakers? It's hard to watch. Like cuddling a goat you're going to kill for dinner.
Ask your question, Ep. I like to converse, okay? Verse, Barrick, I'm sorry, but I like to converse. They are under the blue flag, so battle would be out of the question, unless I would be dishonoring that.
When I was young, my parents told me the Tears were special, and the Overlord's edicts and armies could never touch us. Seems I've been told a hefty sum of lies. So answer this honestly for me, please. Is it true that Tunon's fate binders can smell truth from falsehood?
I don't like to lie. Kidet Detective Strat's investigation. But if they tell stealing secrets to enemies, well, they must decide as well what they want to do. Like, if they know that they will die, but they could also survive if they let us capture that place. I did that before too. I warned the people, and to be honest, I'm consistent to the way I did it with the city. I first talked to the city, let them know the city will be destroyed. And in the evening, I did the reading of the edict. So I'm basically doing the same thing, nonetheless, no matter if it's secrets or not. But back then I also told how it was. So they may not like me as much, but I don't care. I'm doing what I want to do. No, that's not true.
Thanks for that. I could see why you'd want to foster the mystique all the same. The School of Tides would always tell commoners we didn't know how to summon drinkable water. Once they find out, you can't eat in peace.
Understandable.
And Kairos's edicts. I have heard the sages speak at length that some of the edicts elsewhere in the world have been broken. How is this?
Edict is forever. But I don't like the idea of lying, so I'll just have a look into this too. Wording on the proclamation. If Kairos provides a clause allowing the edict to end, that clause can be satisfied. The Overlord has some control over how the edict lingers, but Kairos only knows the exact details. I would say this. So it varies based on the wording of the proclamation. If Kairos provides a clause allowing the edict to end, that clause can be satisfied.
Ah, so some edicts are forever. The rest are, as long as Kairos has in mind? Needless to say, Kairos' magic is unlike anything we've seen in any Archon.
No, indeed. You haven't seen it anywhere else.
And one more mildly self-indulgent question, but I simply must know. Kairos, male or female?
The Overlord is mother and father. The question is irrelevant.
Fine, fine. I've heard that answer before. Sorry I asked. You'll forgive, I hope, the questions. The Overlord and his Archons used to be things of legend. Now they're everyday maladies, and I'm eager to separate the truth from the lies I've been told by House and Guild.
I can understand that, Eb.
In accordance to our most ancient customs, let us depart in honorable accord. May peace find you, Fatebinder.
She bows deeply bound in her stuff on the ground twice before turning to leave. Received a missive from Tunon. The will of Kairos. Okay. Tunon, I just got a message from my boss, basically. Kide, word has reached this court that you have issued the Overlord's edict to the Archons of War and Secrets. Know that we understand fully the fate of this burden and appreciate the loyalty you show in this declaration. Provided you survive this span, your services will be duly recognized. As you navigate the idiosyncrasies and mutual antipathy of our Overlord's War Masters, remember that Kairos watches all with interest. Those who distinguish themselves, whether Fatebinder or Archon, have an opportunity to rise in the Overlord's esteem. Even now, the Northern courts whisper that the more successful of the two Archons will be granted rule over the rule of the peninsula. Similarly, your fortunes rest upon the decisions you make. Choose wisely, Tunon the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice. Yeah, so one of them might be getting a better place, and then also my place will be seen with this as well. No favors, no frat as of yet. Sure. Thank him for the advice. Archon Tunon, allow me to express my deep appreciation for this opportunity. Few in the Empire have the honor of treating with Archons. A viewer still of reading the empowered words of the Overlord. I endeavor always to emulate your exemplary foresight and judgment. I remain in all things your faithful servant, Fatebinder Kide. But I can send, look, request clarification would be, It's interesting to be able to go. It's good that you can go back, but yes, I'll just thank him for the advice. Send it. 24-hour response time. 1 day remaining. Correspondence course. But yeah, it's cool to be able to converse with our boss. Male or female? I wonder too. Male or female, but it matters not in the end. And yes, it is indeed our master. Also, now then, the loyalties. Good question, how much did Verse lose? Not too much, to be honest. Like, a little bit of loyalty, but not too much. Of course, Parix is lower, because, yeah, I haven't even discussed about pretty much anything yet with him. But yeah, I'm happy with my conversations with them too, nonetheless, those other peoples. It is interesting to be able to have specifically loyalty and differences with these people too. Maybe she can even join us. We'll see, though. I don't exactly know, because it is like she's under companion, so that's an interesting mark. Allegedly the last member of the School of Tides, a mage guild specializing in magic of the moon and seas. A seasoned traveler and arcane scholar prior to the war, has devoted her days to fighting Kairos' occupation of the Tears. But yeah, they especially have very little choice in the matter, like, either we conquer the place and are killed, or everyone will die here anyways. Honest answers are usually appreciated. Elated by your capable ways. And then Legions Crossing, I have some favor with little bit in the Vengeance card even. Then of course they both. I guess, I don't know if I actually have that still then. I guess I do. Yeah, I can see it there. Ooh. I kind of feel it that should I be checking things like that, considering the fact, like, that's hardly visible at all, but yeah, go on. What do I get? Vagrant, Cliché, Agate, and Azurbel. But on the other hand, it is nice to be able to use it, so... You can make out the faintest outline of a soldier's arm in the bottom of this pond, a victim of a previous battle in the area.
I can't.
Interesting.
Quiet down!
Quiet down. Can we see anything in here with that soldier that we could try to pick up? Deers are surprisingly uninterested in us, though.
Sorry, I can't.
The grasslands of the Tears stretch far through the lands. Much of it remains uninhabited and unclaimed by any faction. Alright. Interesting enough. I just want to see the full area nonetheless, even if there wouldn't be much. What about this? It's clearly a sword.
Time to lighten my step.
Can I pick it up? It's a sword on the ground. Surely I should be able to pick it up. But, oh well. Bad thing that in this game you cannot kill critters for skins. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but that's a clear sword that I should be able to pick up. Quiet. Yeah, 45 minutes. Not that bad. For a short time, all consumables are on a cooldown. But I definitely can't just waste about time. A rotting body bearing Scarlet Core's war paint is skewered upon a wooden pike. Take another step and I'll pin your foot to the dirt. Okay. Quiet shift. It proves everything. The warrior slams her fists together in a resounding clap. Like, for instance, whether you fit to lead that flock of children. Behind her, the members of her gang posture with weapons held at the ready. Did you not hear the news of the edict? This is a foolish distraction. We ought to be saving our fight for the enemy. The chorus warrior looks to his gang, giving them a quick nod. What's the problem here? No problem here, Madam Binder. She tosses her blade in the air, catching it with a smile on the way down. Captain Fuckwit here seems he's about to balk from his challenge. Thinks just because he used to run a ship, he's qualified to run a gang. She spits on the ground, looking up the sky with a scowl. So I'm calling him out, because the way I see it, his warriors ought to follow me, not this new blood. Captain Fuckwit was... Shivers Shank. Quiet shift. Captain Fuckwit was my father. Fuckwit will do just fine. The warrior points at the opposing gang. If we have to prove our strength, we'll do so happily, but I'll have your hands and feet removed and the rest of you kept for my own use. That just sounds wrong, dude. I make a wager for this fight. No, I definitely will not be joining in. To be honest, I would prefer them not to do this right at this moment, because I would want them to actually rather go and actually die in a battle, if so it is to be. I'm sure Verse wouldn't like me going and this, not allowing them to fight each other, though. But I would prefer, at the moment, to concentrate into the things that are important. This is foolish. Stop this at once. Just walk away. It's also a good option. Ugh. Why you ignored Parik and didn't talk with him? I am planning to talk with him, but I was just thinking that I could try to do a little bit more of different stuff, because I just thought it Verse for such a long time that I didn't want to immediately start talking with Parik. It's not like I can't talk with him after I happen to be in this camp. And anyways, I might be able to get some loyalty with him through other things, and then maybe he can talk with me more. I don't know how it exactly works, but it's not like I'm not going to talk with Parik. It's just that I'm not talking with him immediately. I would have even liked to have actually seen some battles, but it makes sense more to come to their camp first nonetheless, even though just to get quests and so on and forth, rather than just go into the other place immediately. But yeah, I guess I'll say this. This is foolish. Stop this at once. Excuse me, she widens her eyes in shock. This is our way, Fatebinder, and you have no right to stop us. We are not harming anyone outside the chorus. I don't know who you are, but I don't need your help. He looks back at his gang. I think we can handle ourselves just fine. I could go and just cut Quiet Shift's throat, just me going and cutting it. But to be honest, it's not like I can stop them bickering, so I guess I'll just gotta be letting them fight it out. If they wanna do such things, even if I would prefer not to. But it is their way, that is true. I would just prefer them waiting until the battle would be done. And if some companion want to say something, you can see white chat picture on their portrait. Okay. Bickering amongst ourselves, yourselves. Fine, I'll let you all fight this out then, if you must. Make it quick. You have gained favored Scarlet Corals. The soldiers offer a quick solemn nod. Come, who of you will be the first to meet my blade? The gang leader tosses her knife from one hand to the next. So they all pretty much died. One gang member was left alive. So, good for you guys. Just both of... Even the guy had to go and then get killed. Well, I guess I'll loot you guys, cause that's the only thing I can do. With that. Verse seems to be the one that wants to specifically talk, though not Barik. But yeah, now you're just one horde member alive. Good job, dudes. If they at least one side would just win, but no, it's not the case. Yeah. It's quite annoying. What is it, Verse? How did you do that? Verse looks at you with quizzical expression. Do what? Back in the Archon Sword Tent, you cast an edict as casually as reading a supply shipment. How did you do that? It was nothing, really. Now is not the time to play coy. You spoke words that could lead to the deaths of hundreds. Take a moment to feel proud of yourself. I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. It's just worth recognizing what you've done. Not only are you Tunon's Fatebinder, you're the mouthpiece of the Overlord. Gives me plenty of reasons to stick around. You're going places and I want to see where they lead. If you say so, I have some questions about you.
What do you need?
Talk later. Well, let me talk with Barrick then before we continue, but yeah, those guys just stupid. They just killed themselves. Each other's, all of them. Strongest survives. Well, one person survived. I wouldn't say strongest survived. If one Kang, or at least a Kang leader, would have survived, then maybe I could say that, okay, it's the strongest survived. But here, just one Kang member happened to survive, and I don't feel that it was the strongest member. It just happened to be one random member that wasn't attacked first, because the Kang leaders especially wanted to kill each others. But, it just seems very foolish, especially at this situation. I don't mind them doing that on their own time, when everyone's life isn't at stake. But everyone's life is at stake. There's no time for silliness. She will become a new leader of her own. Maybe. Luckiest, maybe. Yeah, that's what I would say. Luckiest person happened to survive. I kind of wish that I would have stopped that foolishness. I should have gone and just slit the throat of the woman who was causing trouble. But Barrick.
Fatebinder, you look like you need to talk.
Barrick nods to you.
What can I do for you?
I'd like to know more about you. And the line your enemies cannot cross. All other details are meaningless. But I suspect you have some thirst for details, so ask away. Did you seek the trade of war, or did it find you? Both, I suppose. I knew fighting was in my blood, and the disfavored offered me a chance to use my skills to bring peace. Otherwise I'd have wound up some brigand or an enforcer to the crooked merchant. Barrick taps his scabbard, looking away in thought. You think Ashe and his legion brings peace? That's cute, but it doesn't hold water from where I'm standing, big guy. I've seen them spill as much blood as any Corps gang. Thus, I'm talking to Barrick now. Could you not come in between the conversation? I was able to talk with you completely in peace about everything. But, so let me talk with Barrick, okay, Verse? You've clearly been too busy snacking villages and stealing crops to notice how a proper army conducts a war. We sow order, not discord. Yeah, you two are worse, and the Ashe and the Voices. Stop this at once. Drawing himself up, Barrick glares at you with the distance. Speaking ill of a great general is not wise while I'm in earshot, Fatebinder. It's just the truth. If you would be seeing them discuss things, you would understand maybe. But I'm here to talk anyways with Barrick, so yes, I annoyed more with Verse than you, Barrick, in this regard. Anyways, I think you are more correct. But you are both my companions, so I'm stuck with you guys. Hey, the boss is a point. Trading jabs is fun, but it's not going to get us anywhere. Verse chuckles and shakes her head. May I continue my story, or do you plan on interrupting again? Barrick waits until Verse makes a rude, dismissive face before continuing. The disfavored needed recruits in anticipation of the march south. They offered to care for my mother and brother as long as I stayed with the Legion, which is better guarantee than you'll find anywhere else. I was an elite fighter as far as most were concerned, though still green by disfavored standards. Luckily for everyone, my skills improved under the Iron Marshal's rigorous training. Tell me about your name. Barrick is a shortening of my northern surname, which has been passed down through the generations since Craven Ashe assembled his army. I go by it because I wear it with pride. The proper form is Parikonen. Beyond its age and association with the General's Legion, the name of Parikonen has no great titles or associations. I hold no claim to a great house or legacy, save for the disfavored. They are all the kin I need. What's the story with your armor?
It is a symbol of Kairos' will, one that I am not likely to forget. I found this armor. Perhaps it would be better to say that it found me during the Edict of Storms.
Yeah, Verse. What happened exactly during the Edict of Storms? When we heard the Kairos would proclaim the edict, we rushed into the field to battle the forces of Stalwart. I was shoulder to shoulder with some of the Legion's most decorated veterans, and my pride blinded me to the danger. Our march was a hasty one. A cohort of disfavored soldiers vanished in the second year of the war. Among them a daughter of the craven Ashe. After a long silence, we learned that she was held in the fortress of the Sentinel Stand. This is the part of the sort of story that I could have had something to do with too if I had gone into that area, I'm certain, but I didn't, so this is the choices that are randomly chosen. Go on. I assume at least. As we surrounded the citadel, at least part of that, I heard the opening peals of thunder, as did the scouts I was busy trying to kill. Then the winds hit like an avalanche. Many of us begged Kairos for deliverance. What else were we to do? The winds knocked the legs of our offense out from under us. All the decorated soldiers I brought to the battle were swept up and dashed to pieces, and the armor and bodies mixing with the dirt of a tornado that spun in maddening revolutions. A piece of the citadel wall broke off and nearly crushed my skull. I only remember a few scattered moments from the storm, like the flying bits of bronze and iron cutting my flesh, the severed limbs of fallen soldiers tumbling through the air. Eventually, I woke up, thinking myself trapped under rubble. When I rose and felt like I was buckling under my own fate, that's when I realized I was stuck, right and truly stuck, inside this heap of scrap. What happened to Ashe's daughter after the edict hit? She was trapped behind the walls of Sentinel Stand, imprisoned by Kairos' storm as well as the fortress itself. 1,000 soldiers standing shoulder to shoulder could not have endured those winds to rescue her. How did she survive when everyone fell? That is a mystery to me as well. Did Kairos hear my plea for mercy? Did this heap of scrap metal protect me, imprison me, punish me? He rubs the back of his helmet with his gauntlet hand, a pantomime of a gesture his armor forfeits. I don't have enough fingers or toes to count the possible reasons, so I try not to dwell on them. You are genuinely stuck in there. Haven't tried to taking it off? I made attempts in the past, even had one of the best beast haulers pull on the helmet while another pulled on my boots. And the men in the phalanx have taken great pleasure in trying to find ways to liberate me. In time, I grew wary of the struggle. Sometimes I fear that removing the armor would be the question Kairos' judgment and risk more odious curse. Well, it does look a pretty solid protection. That would be an understatement. If only it protected me from foolish questions. Barik regards you in such a way that you can tell he's rolling his eyes. A forlorn sigh escapes his helmet. Do you handle your own repairs? I try to keep the service oil to slow the spreading rust, and I bend the blades from time to time. But repairs? Maintenance? No. If you have any ideas of how to better maintain this situation, I'm open to discussing them. Back to my questions about you. By all means, Fatebinder. As with all disfavored, I assume you grew up in the Northern Empire. That's right. I grew up in the Battle's Rest and trained at Fort Resolution before they marched me out to support the second cohort. I hope to spend my rusting years in Fretten Shores, unless of course I die in glorious battle, which would be preferable. My mother is good with the soil, my father with rings. He spends much of his time away on one merchant's errands or another. Still, I'm lucky to say they're both alive. Something else then. Tell me about the disfavored. We are the Iron Legion, the warrior elite of Kairos' fighting force. I could easily lose count of the hours extolling our glories. What is it you'd like to know? Have you fought in any notable battles? I served in Stalwart for the better part of a year. Faced the enemy everywhere, from Coral Run to Sentinel Stand. I lost count of the battles. Seems like we fought every other day. A sight echoes in the caverns of his helm. Some of our best victories took place there, fighting an enemy worthy of our iron. But we were not successful enough to please the Overlord, and the final intervention was harsh on us all. Barik takes in a deep breath, his arms folding as his posture stiffens. I had an unusual view of the Edict of Storms. Kairos' judgment left its mark on me, yet considering how we fought at Stalwart, with the skills and honor of legend, only the Edict is remembered. A shame. True enough. There's a lot more to that place than just the edict. Tell me about Craven Ashe. Craven Ashe is the general of the disfavored, veteran of centuries of battle, and an Archon without peer. I would follow him to the void and back without question. Barak swings his arms in salute. How did he come to serve Kairos? I do kind of know this though, already, but let's see what he says. Before the uniting of the Northern Empire, Craven Ashe served as a warlord in the service of one of the local knights that defied Kairos' rule. Incredible as it may seem, Ashe stood against Kairos' rule. Though his army was dismantled by Kairos' overwhelming numbers, Ashe's forces performed admirably. It was said that he and his troops claimed 77 lives for each of their own. That is a lot. Kairos took an interest in the military genius that bloodied his army. Craven Ashe was summoned to a conclave of Archons, and though he was sent in chains, he left as an Archon, having been granted a position of power in Kairos' great host of war. Thus the disfavored were born. All of us today trace our line back to those warriors that impressed Kairos with their will and tenacity. The only difference is now we fight on the winning side. Though the general seldom speaks of it, I know that Ashe humbled himself in order to spare his troops the burden of Kairos' punishment. His loyalty to the old blood of the North is beyond question. He made the right choice to save his troops. And he would make it again to save any of us. There has never been a more devoted and attentive leader. Barak makes a proud fist and steps on to a salute with a forceful clatter of pots and pans. What else do you know of his past? I follow him into battle. I'm not his personal scribe, and if I did know more of him, it would not be my place to say. Barak takes half step back, folding his arms across his chest. As an Archon, what magic does he wield? Ashe works his magic through us, his soldiers. When we do battle, Ashe seems to know the events even before our runners have given word. Most importantly, though, he protects us. It's a bit tricky to explain unless you've experienced it. I can think of countless times I've been struck by a spear or hit with an axe and even run through with an arrow, and in each of those moments the pain and injury just cease to be. None of us know how he does it, or how he can sense that we're in danger and intervene from afar. But I suppose that's why he's an Archon. What he does probably wouldn't make sense to someone like me. How do you feel about Craven Ashe? Do you love him? Just feel. It's kind of strange, but how do I feel about him? Archon Ashe is the bravest, warmest, most compassionate general who ever lived. He is a living icon of leadership and courage. Barak tilts his head slightly to the side as far as the suit's limited range of motion permits. Ashe is a soldier, but he doesn't kill for sport. A leader, but he doesn't issue commands to hear himself talk. He demands discipline and sober conduct of his troops, and I applaud such standards. Okay, back to the questions about this favorite. So many questions. What can you tell me about your time in the Legion? I joined the Legion 3 years before the conquest of the Tears began. Though handy with a few weapons, my size made me the perfect addition to the phalanx. I've served with the stone shields ever since. Proud to say I stood front row, right corner in over a dozen battles. That has been my place ever since the Iron Marshal gave me the assignment. The Bastard City, the Gates of Judgment, Ventrium Pass, Ocon's Ring, a quick tour in Paris in chains, and then Stalwart. I spent a long time in Stalwart, lost a lot of friends there. What of the other disfavored lieutenants? Or lieutenants, I don't know which one is the right way to say sometimes. They are Craven Ashe's most trusted officers and warriors from the Iron Guard. Between Ashe's arcane powers of command and his cadre of gifted leaders, there is a little confusion or chaos in the ranks. Tell me of the one they called Iron Marshal. She takes it upon herself to train and hearten our greener recruits. Not only that, she has a keen eye for talent and how to foster it for leadership. She is the youngest member of the Iron Guard. Her family line served disfavored back before Ashe bowed to Kairos. Say what you will of how many seasons she's veteran, her lineage is impressive beyond measure. What of Kain's disciplined erratics? An Earthshaker who swore service to Kain a few years before the conquest. Since Kain is gone, the cult now follows Radix. Unlike the Archon, at least he knows how to follow orders. To his credit, Radix seems to appreciate the honor of fighting alongside the disfavored. Kain was always beefed to be invited in the glory. The mages seem a necessary complication. They are insubordinate and can't lock their own supplies, but I would not want to go to war without the spells of tremor and leaping stones. What of the Scoutmaster Marek? Marek is a devoted leader, and Ashe seems to hold his counsel in high regard. Both set their troops ahead of themselves, which I'm sure is why they work so well together. He's no magician, but he does share a special connection to his war brand, and they are entrusted with the most important scouting assignments. They say he can see what his scouts see, hear what they hear. Yeah. What of the veteran warrior Varimas? He is the finest of us, second only to Ashe. Varimas is an evocatus, a soldier who lived to see the end of his term of service. It's rare for anyone to survive the long, much less willingly return. These days he lends his tactical expertise to Craven Ashe, though by all rights he should be enjoying his twilight years in the seat of honor and dignity. Okay, back to other questions. Just takes so long to try to go through everything, but, well, we might as well now that we started. Why didn't the Legion prevent the uprising of Ventry as well? I think that question you ought to ask of the Scarlet Chorus. They too were charged with ensuring the locals remained vanquished and unarmed. I would say the Vengeance Guard are really the only guilty party. It was their rebellion after all. The only problem after this is what happened afterwards when the disfavored are not their prisoners anymore. But what happened to them? That's the main question that I have suspicions of Scarlet Chorus. You need to drink at least some water, Porky. I do have a little bit of water here, but it's just difficult to find the time considering there's all the time reading, you know? Fear. That is a position unworthy of you, Fatebinder. The tears are but children before Kairos. We don't blame them for their ignorance, but the responsibility to set them straight is ours alone. Okay, what more can you tell me of the Legion? Does this waver that accepts only the finest warriors? We are all volunteers and soldiers by trade, not farmers and wishmongers pressed into service. There is a century of tradition, honor, and tactical mastery in our ranks. We don't let just anyone into the Legion. Only Northmen of character and prowess are welcome. What about me? What if I wish to join? A charming sentiment, good Fatebinder, but no, you are sworn to another Archon. Your loyalty would be suspect. I can understand that, certainly, no? So why is the Legion called the Disfavored? It is a name born in shame, now worn in honor. After Craven Ashe stood against Kairos, he was forced to give up much. His allegiance, his pride, and the name of his wanted army. What was the Legion originally called? The name has been forgotten by all save Ashe and Kairos, and it is considered bad form to bring up the topic. Since you didn't know any better, I'll say this much. Disfavored is the only name by which one needs to know us. Okay, previous questions. I have some questions about the Scarlet Chorus. Our allies do not share the disfavored sense of honor and discipline. The Chorus will trust any criminal, rapist or half-wit with a truncheon or blade. What would you like to know about the Scarlet Chorus? What do you know of the Voices of Narada? The Archon of Secrets. All I know are rumors, hearsay, speculation, but that's as much as anyone knows of the Voices. Some accounts tell that he's actually dead, and the Overlord has trapped the minds of his foes into the same body to torture them all. As likely an explanation as any I've heard. In truth, I know little of the Voices, and have reason to suspect almost anything about him could be true. You could tell me his tears turned cheese back into milk, and it would seem more sensible to believe you than not. Sure. Do you know anything of his powers? I am no scholar of sorcery, but as I understand it, the Voices of Narada is a thief of minds. They say he can swipe your thoughts and make them his own. I don't know how it works. When I recruited into the disfavor, the Iron Marshal told me never to take an audience with the Voices if I didn't have a witness on hand. Do you think him disloyal? I really shouldn't comment on such matters. Barrick looks ahead blankly and then clears his throat. I heard his tears can turn cheese into milk totally. That's totally true. That's very amusing, Fatebinder. It is amusing. What do you know of his associate, the Archon Serene? I definitely didn't have the best of relationship with Archon Serene. Serene is the Archon of Song and one of the youngest of her rank. She can influence human emotions with her voice alone. The Voices may be the conductor of the chorus, but I'd argue Serene is their best weapon. The Voices put her talent to good use. He had her singing a song up and down the coast, and the tearsmen defected to the chorus in droves. Indeed. What can you tell me about their troops and tactics? Tactics. These are the first I've heard of them. The chorus is more of an irregular mob than a proper army. Still, it's a well-armed mob, and they even have a few proper warriors and magicians in their pitiful excuse for ranks. What do you know of the warriors? Most chorus rats are untrained peasants handed a knife or a pitchfork. It doesn't take much to qualify you for the front lines. One only needs a beating heart, and even then a chorus could make do. Of course, not everyone in the chorus is an infirm child or sickly old crone. Some ex-soldiers and madmen join, and the fighting elite of the chorus form a clique known as the Scarlet Furies. Paris is still dismissive by far, but he's right. The most recruits are novices pressed into service. Most will not survive the first few battles. Those who live will have experience to lead, and those who fall can easily be replaced. What sort of magic does the chorus use? The Bloodsenders are the mages who follow the Voices of Narada, like the chorus himself. Their order is not steeped in tradition and antiquity, rather built on knowledge stolen from other guilds. Their fire magic earns them a place on the battlefield, but they also have chants that stir the minds and the heart. The motherless swords have spells that can bolster a man's courage or tap into his fears. If a source is a mob, how is it led and supplied? The Voices of Narada gives orders to his elite commanders, who in turn send instructions out into the gang captains, but beneath that hierarchy it is chaos. Full gangs will break from the larger force and disperse back into their homelands. The chorus will is inefficient beyond words, and yet more bodies keep coming in to replace those lost in the mess. Inefficient? Every weakling lost in the shuffle is one less burden to those in the shore still dancing to the song of battle. Our ways must be harsh, otherwise the stupid and the soft will inherit the chant. The chorus has a lot of mouths to feed, so the conscripts that can't or won't fight are made to gather food and water. Else, I'm told, they're fed to the pigs, becoming food and water, in a sense. Barrick shrugs. A fine contrast to the honor, efficiency, and decency of the disfavored. The Legion demands courage and tenacity, but provides us with a good iron and does not leave its soldiers to forage like vultures. How do you think the Scarlet Chorus convinced so many tearsmen to join? It began with Serene. She had a song that got full villages marching to her will, and once those peasants killed their neighbors or cousins in service of the Voices, it either hardened them into warriors or broke their minds for servitude. Lots of criminals and drifters joined the chorus too. It seemed like the scum of the tears just need the promise of glory and sanctioned debauchery to turn on their neighbors. It's not pretty, and it shouldn't be. The chorus is a forge. All the dirt of the tears goes in, and the finest beats are refined into weapons. There are many that join the Scarlet Chorus because they wish to join the winning side. It's a shame that such patriots were not born the proper Northern stock. too weak or too slight to be disfavored. The Scarlet Chorus is their best freedom from fealty to the younger realms. Not everyone has the fortune of gaining Tunon's favor. I wonder what I would say. I don't know if I like any of them. It's kind of true that it's nice to have some of them at least serve rather than just being masked craves, but I'm sure that he doesn't like that answer. This seems at least a bad choice. To some degree, I would say that they work as two, if they can work together, these two complement each other, these two different factions. Choose from your heart. I would say this, nonetheless, even though it's not like I like the chorus by any means, but better that the Tearsmen serve Kairos in some capacity than have them rot in mass graves. They'd be best served lacking grain for the disfavored. But you're certainly correct. Even the lowliest Tearsmen deserve the chance to serve, even as fodder for the front lines. Enough of them, then.
Let's move on to another matter.
Yes. What can you tell me about the Tears? I feel both ways and full of dumb thoughts. I learned some history in training. I've been here for a few years, but I'm no expert. What is your assessment of the local forces? There was a time early in the war when I would have feared the younger realms working together. Imagine that. Once I saw the modest scope of their defensive, I knew they would be easily outclassed. They couldn't even rally their best to make a competent stand. Tell me about the Ventrian Guard. They used to be the Queen's Royal Army of Ventrian. I guess defeat inclined them to a shorter name. We crushed them back in 429. I'm proud to say I took part in the decisive battle. You know the rest. A year after we taught them conquered, thousands of Ventrian Oathbreakers murdered the garrison and declared themselves free of the Overlord's rule. What is the Unbroken? The Unbroken Legion was the proud and accomplished army of the realm of Stalwart. Yeah, we haven't been there. Citing their victories as evidence of skill, they pride in themselves of never facing defeat. While fighting on home soil, after the Edict of Storm tore apart Stalwart and twisting it into a plate grave, barely a 20th of the Unbroken former strength survived to continue the war against Kairos' forces. But yeah, I could have been in this location where we are right now, or in that location, or then another place. So tell me about the Unbroken, or the place that I was in, I mean. The Unbroken Union of Stalwart, may they rot in the decrepitude of the fallen realm. Barik squeezes his gauntlet into the hard fist. Much as it pains me to admit it, in all the realms of the Tears, the Unbroken have been the only foe worthy to meet the disfavored in battle. The Unbroken value tradition, just as we do. Stalwart has never lost a war on their own soil, a reputation they take quite seriously. It is fortunate that Stalwart has poor relations with all its neighbors. The rest of the Tears will not come to their aid, so as bravely as they fight, their end is inevitable. Then Bronze Brotherhood. Okay, so I don't want to read all of this, but yeah. Ruthlessness. What can you tell me of the Bronze Brotherhood? Mercenaries from the free cities. The chorus needed extra muscle, and you can always mint new rings. Hard to believe the Tearsmen turned on each other for mere loops of metal. The Bronze Brotherhood worship the Scorches. Yes, those monsters from the old walls. The mercenaries are grown adults that willingly admire magical abomination. Read into that what you will. That said, it should surprise no one that the Bronze Brotherhood eventually wanted more than just rings and turned on their contracts. Kairos now considers them an enemy, which is for the best. The Overlord needs a better class of competence.
Go on, Fatebinder.
Read all. Well, but there's so much of the lore, so much of history. I'm sure that we encounter them in other discussions too. So I don't want to read everything all the time. Like, it's a little bit like if I would all the time in Dragon Age Origins read every little lore bit about everything, every little thing about Orzamar's lore and stuff like that. That's not as fun when you are doing the gameplay. Not about everything. I still do try to check a lot of that stuff, but not everything, because it's kind of distracting, at least for me, for the actual game and the gameplay, if I all the time go and start to look, hey, what is this? Like, some stuff, yes, especially if there's like those things that are related to quests, then I definitely always read them, but not everything. And then some of these a little bit like reading up approximately that, okay, yeah, it was these areas and so on and forth, and not always reading all the freaking stuff. So what do you know about the Younger Realms? Before we march on the bastard tier, I recall Craven Ashe giving us a speech as we stood assembled at Fort Resolution. He told us that the Younger Realms lacked the sense to make a stand against us. I don't think I need to point out that the average Gearsman is just plainly inferior to the sons and daughters of the North. For every one of ours they kill, we must track a score and a half bleeding in the soil with us. It didn't help that they're afraid of magic and relied on the battlefield prowess to stage a defense. What about the Beastmen? They drilled us on Beastmen combat before the invasion, but it did little to prepare us. The local savages are lacking in brains, hygiene, and the ability to arm themselves, yet the prime hunters of their species are formidable. Aside from being rapacious killers, the Beastmen make good haulers and laborers, once you've killed a half that won't follow orders. Okay, enough about tears. You seem like a more than capable fighter. Yes, he does. I trained with a spear and shield in my youth, but gave it up the day I earned this favored iron. I can still throw with some accuracy, but it's a challenge these days. He knocks twice on his helmet. Why? Were you interested in sparring session? I could, but I think later. I don't want, at least right now. Let's discuss some immediate concerns. What is in that you have in your mind? Let's see. Yeah, I was the governor of Lillian's Crossing. Maybe the Brotherhood was from there, but at least the one was, I think what was the name of the guys who were, like, last three choices was that we could have come into this region. The second choice was the one that I chose, which was the place, the library, the knowledge place, which I destroyed. And the third location was the region where he said that the Edict of Storms happened. And this is one of those locations, and I was not here. But these three at least are all something that I could have chosen as well, but I went to the library and I burned it down. That well of knowledge. But I don't know if I did anything with them. I stopped the siren from getting some people in Lillian's place, and then I went and destroyed the monster with Disfavored. And I gave that location to Disfavored, so... What do you think of our circumstances? The edict left little room for confusion. A representative of the Overlord must breach Ascension Hall before Kairos' Day of Swords, and must assume death is the price of failure. We should assist the Disfavored in the siege preparation, as only the Legion should take the well-fortified citadel. I wouldn't wager a wooden ring on the Scarlet Chorus impressing anyone but the vultures. What are your thoughts on me and my deeds? Any reservations I have aside, your military record speaks for itself. You are Tunon's Fatebinder, and my opinions on the matter don't come into it on the way or another. Into it one way or another. What about our travel companions, as in verse? I am more accustomed to travel in the company of soldiers, so I am out of practice judging a word of civilians and miscredence. If you had anyone particular in mind, I will give them some thought. What do you think of verse? I try not to. She is a force of chaos, an agent of the Voices of Narada. They can her into the confidence can only lead to ruin. And yet she is a capable fighter. For the time being, I am confident that you can trust her to serve your interest and rely on her skills on the battlefield. She may even offer some useful perspective on the war. But yeah, I don't want to go about trying to take the armor off. I don't think that it's even the wisest choice, to be honest. Just go in and, hey, let's take your armor off completely. What's that? Plus file. Oh my. Here's your business. Well, my business is my business. I come to possibly also help. The guard places her hands by her belt as you approach, gripping the hilt of a blade. Past this point is chorus territory, and you don't look like someone's conscript. You sure you're in the right place? I am Kide, Fate Binder of Tunon. I am here to help vanquish the Oathbreakers. You know, I think I was told to expect somebody, but you seem too ugly to be her. Her lips crumple into a smirk. Why exactly should I let you in? And more importantly, what's this hulking ton of iron doing here? The god gestures to Barak with a sneer. I'm so tempted to just do an action. It's Siren or Brotherhood or Best Men. Beast Men. Claire silently. Fine, just come on in. I'm sure the Fury will cut you if you're really a problem. The guard half-heartedly waves you in as she nods to Verse. I jolt Claire at you, you imbecile. Thinking that you will just say that, I'm too ugly and won't even let you come in. Fifth Eye is the person that we can at the very least help. What's this? Scroll. A scroll sits here glowing with a mystical energy. What does that mean? How can I use it? Ah, I can with lore. Yes, yes. More than happy to. Learn new spell core, Sigil of Illusion, whatever that does. Sigil of Illusion, what the heck is that? Those who master the Sigil of Illusion are skilled in the arts of deceit and trickery, using its powers to misdirect and confuse their targets at critical moments, often derided by combat mages for its inability to kill outright. Those who specialize in illusion know its powers can turn the tide of any battle. It merely requires someone smart enough to know how to use it. My skill in that is pretty much non-existent, but... Spectral Blur... allied target, grace deflection, and 30% to hit deflection. Master target in a blurred illusion, making him harder to hit. And with this it would be full speed. Raw damage. Foe target, prone affliction, so that they would get proned. I guess. Attack skills would be control illusions, but I don't really have that, but I do at least have lore. Conjure the illusion of an endless black pit below the target, convincing them that they are falling to their death. The enemy is left prone until they can make sense of an illusion. I wonder just what does this exactly mean? Yeah, it just... But yeah, it just means that I may not be able to do them as effectively. But on the other hand, I would assume that I have to try to do them if I'm going to try to be better at it. So in that sense, I would think that it's kind of logical still to try to practice some of these other things too. This does sound fun though. Your lore skill is way too low for me to even remotely hope to do something like this. Lore required 55 or just more intensity. Range. How far can I do this into? 8 meters range, so it's not that bad. I can do it from a relatively okay distance. It just, what do I want to leave behind? Silent Kide. Best sigil for warrior. Uh-huh. Well, to blur them, I guess you mean, especially. I'm just wondering, do I want to remove something from here or not? I want to keep... I don't know. I kind of like the shock more than going into this at the moment, at least, even though it would be interesting. But shock at least is something that I couldn't have tried to learn no matter how much. Yeah, but this is also control lightning, so it's unlikely that I'll be able to use it as well as my frost spells and this. These are the ones that is more likely that I'll be able to use, but can't really be helped that much. But this is actually something that he can use. The law required is a lot less. Of course, I cannot definitely increase it in any ways, because that would be basically something that he definitely could not use. Sure. Replace the frozen thing. It's not like you need to have that in there. Though I guess you could have some increase in that. You have 35, so you could have a little bit longer lasting in it, to be honest. Sure. That works. Then you have this Titan's Touch, so let's see if I have Titan's Touch and try to increase it. Yeah, you can still have a little bit increased version of it. So that's fine. That's okay. You guys can have those. I would be interested in that too, but I probably should still specialize more into my frost and then this. And then I like electricity idea, so I would like to try to use that nonetheless. Ay. So, save. New. Fifth eye. Should I still talk to you? We could be ending also today. I would also be kind of tempted to go and try to look through this full place, but it would take a long time to be able to look through everything, so it might be a decent choice to just end here for today and then continue from here next time. Next time we would start with discussion in here, and after that we would actually probably go into some battles after all. It's been a while since we've been in any battles though. Like, not today at all, to be honest. No battles for us at all. Gotten at least a little bit more experience into that indeed, but almost nothing at all. Oh dear. Too bad you can't ask what Nerat cut it from him. Yeah, I don't think he would want to answer that. I wonder if that would be... what sort of memories does he even have about that all? But anyways, yes. I think I'll be ending this stream here. I hope you enjoyed still Tyranny, even though there really isn't that much discussion that can happen, because this is, especially this time around, there was just so much reading. Lots of conversing with Verse, and then conversing with Parik, and also meeting with one other possible companion that I'm not sure if she can be properly our companion, but maybe. But anyways, we will continue from here then, possibly next Friday. I'm not exactly certain when I will be going and visiting my parents, but if I do happen to be out at that time, then I will let you guys know. But I might be having still the stream next Friday and then go and visit my parents after that, but we'll have to see. Nonetheless, on Sunday at least we will be playing some Yakuza 0, so thank you all for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed. I'll stop the recording here, so thank you for watching here on Twitch streams and later on in YouTube as well, and I hope you had fun.